Scenes in sport. The first tee at the British Open as the leading pairs begin their third rounds in the chill wind of an English July day. On the tee now, tied for second place in the championship, are Tiger Woods and the former Open champion Nick Price. The crowd looking on by the tens of thousands here. And here's starter Ivor Robson.
On the tee, Nick Price. On the tee, Tiger Woods.
And so the long walk through the sand dunes begins. Ahead lie hazards of many kinds, a battle with gorse and sand and the wind which blows without mercy today. We'll follow them all the way. As the year 2000 approaches, the British Open Championship is state-of-the-art sport. Huge crowds, the prize money too large for the average man to comprehend, and worldwide fame for the eventual winner. But it's about other things, too. It's about seaside golf links like this year's venue, Royal Birkdale, rugged and tough. It's about a tradition that started at Old Prestwick in 1860, when a small group of Scottish professionals played 3 times around a 12-hole course in one day, with Willie Park the winner. It's about the Morrises, old Tom and his son, winning the title 8 times between them, until young Tom died of a broken heart at Christmas time after the sudden death of his wife. It's about the vaunted triumvirate, James Braid, J.H. Taylor, and Harry Vardon, winning the championship 16 times among them. It's Walter Hagen and Bobby Jones, Sam Snead, Ben Hogan, and Gary Player. And it's Arnold Palmer here at Birkdale in 1961, restoring the old championship to its former eminence as he led a new American charge across the Atlantic.
Winning the Open is never something that just happens. You have to make it happen. And I felt pretty proud that I was able to do that.
The Open means more than the money and the crowds and the sponsors and the worldwide TV. Just ask Tom Watson, the Kansas City Huck Finn, who with his 5 victories equaled the record of all but Harry Vardon.
I enjoyed the atmosphere in the British Isles playing golf. Probably more
I mean, to win at St. Andrews, the home golf, Everybody, it's their dream to win at St. Andrews. I mean, I don't know what happened, but the club just flew out of my hands up in the air. I almost killed Doug coming down. It almost landed on his head. And I tell you, what a thrill.
For a British golfer like Nick Faldo, there is extra meaning to an Open Championship. It's a mark of national pride as well as personal achievement, and the emotions run deep, even for the usually unflappable Faldo.
You know, it's more a sense of relief because, you know, we put up a lot of work into it. We have massive dreams. You know, you sit there and dream of winning the Open, and then when you finally put it off, it's just really a sense of relief. It's not, you don't jump in 20 foot in the air. It's just, I've done it.
The British Open is about glory and glamour, excellence and emotion. It's about today, and yesterday, and all the days before, from the gutta-percha ball to hickory shafts, to metal woods to titanium, from Tom Morris to Arnold Palmer, Harry Vardon to Jack Nicklaus. From Tom Watson to Justin Leonard. The names change, but the old seaside links remain the same. Treeless and windswept, austere and subtly challenging in their sand dune simplicity. The perfect setting for golf's ultimate test, the British Open.
ABC Sports and the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews welcome you to third round coverage of the 127th British Open presented by MasterCard from Royal Birkdale in Southport, England.
Looking out to the Irish Sea, it looks more like a day for surfing than for golf, but believe me, it isn't. The wind coming in off that sea is chilly and strong, and maybe the central figure of the Open today. The wind, of course, is invisible, but its effects are all too apparent here at Royal Birkdale. The bushes bend and rustle as the wind whistles through. The flags atop the grandstand whip proudly, and the people in the crowd huddle into their warm clothes. They came early, and they'll stay late. And so will we. There's an all-important rule for the British Open. It must always be played on a seaside links. There are 8 courses in the rotation, 5 in Scotland and 3 in England. All are subject to this damp seaside wind that's a mark of the championship. Now this year, we're at Royal Birkdale in Southport on the west coast of England on the Irish Sea, near the big cities of Liverpool and Manchester. And as I said, believe me, the wind is blowing. In fact, let's take a look at the weather right now. The temperature is 63, humidity 60%. The winds out of the southwest at 15 to 20 miles per hour, but they're damp, and that makes them feel much stronger. The forecast, cloudy with 35-mile-an-hour gusts. This is Jim McKay reporting. My co-host today will be Mike Tirico, your regular host on ABC's Golf. The analyst, Curtis Strange, as always. The whole announcers, Steve Melnick, Roger Twibell, and Ian Baker Finch, who won here 7 years ago. On the course, Judy Rankin, Bob Rosberg, and Mark McCumber. Frank Hannigan will handle the rulings, of which there may be a few today. And all the interviews will be done by Jimmy Roberts. Let's go to Mike Tirico now. Michael?
Jim, thank you. Here's Tiger's second at the difficult opening hole.
200 yards out of the right-hand rough. Not a great lie. Not much he can do with this one except hit it straight ahead.
Tiger is short and left. We're going to get you through the entire field of 81 players. They stand 6 through 10 that you see in front of you. We'll go on through so you get a look at the entire field and immediately see how everyone stands. Now Nick Price is second.
He hit a great iron off the tee, 168 yards, trying to hit a little knockdown 5-iron.
Rossi, probably one of the few players in the field today that actually hit the first fairway.
It was a beautiful shot just down the left edge.
That all just a moment ago. We take you live down by the green. Here is Tiger's third.
Pitching downhill, down grain, downwind out of the rough is not very easy.
He'll have that for par. Only 5 of the last 20 players to play this hole have made par. This has been the most difficult hole on the golf course. Now back to the first tee.
Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final game of the afternoon. On the tee, Justin Rose.
Age 17 in the last group at the British Open. For a native of England, can you imagine what this must feel like after equaling a British Open record for an amateur yesterday? His date of birth, July 30th, 1980.
And the first hole of the day might be one of the toughest. A strong wind left to right, very hard fairway. Difficult to hit the fairway.
The nerves of a 17-year-old.
On tee, Brian Watts.
Our leader, Watts, set to tee off. An American, won the NCAA championship at Oklahoma State, but plays on the Japanese PGA Tour. 6th on their money list. Among the many who have lost their tee shots on one to the right. Although it's 449, players taking irons. And while Woods and Price are a big story, here, Rose is an unbelievably large story. On the first green, Woods for par.
To play well today, you're going to have to make a lot of these putts. But earlier, Nick Price for birdie from 35 feet. Back into the wind a little bit, and you see it coming up short. You have to remember, going back into the wind this day, it's going to be very slow, downwind very fast.
To 4.
Jesper Parnevik for birdie. Well, we won't see too many birdies there today. He goes 1 under. Very difficult par 3. Back to 1.
Now Tiger's par putt.
As we said, to play well today, you're going to have to make a number of these. You have to make a few putts inside 10 feet. It's always nice to make a putt on the first hole. Get your momentum going, get you confident, especially with that putter in the wind.
So Woods stays in second, 1 back, and now Price to do the same.
Thank you.
Man who's won 15 times on the PGA Tour, over 20 international wins on top of that. Major winner, British Open champion in the past, so he knows what it's like to be in this situation.
And many people think the favorite's starting the last 2 days because he hits the ball so solid and is able to hit it very, very low. Maybe might be a little suspect right here with the putter. If there is an Achilles heel to Nick Price's game, it's right there. Gets a little quick and misses some short ones.
His putting may have been the only thing that kept him from being towards the very top of the leaderboard at the U.S. Open at Olympic just a month ago. So Price drops a shot. He's at 1 under for the championship as we are off here on Saturday at the British Open. Major winners are lurking on the leaderboard. Fred Couples, a sparkling British Open record that includes a 3rd here in '91. The runner-up in the Masters started the day 3 behind. In the same group, the man Couples was paired with on Sunday at Augusta, Mark O'Mara, who has a great record, including a victory on this course. Then there's Davis Love, whose name is becoming very consistent on weekends at majors. 10th in this championship last year, an opening round 67. The Claret Jug has Nick Price's name on it. 4 rounds in the 60s in '94. His eagle on 17 yesterday put him in the second to last group. And there's Tiger Woods for the 3rd day, paired with Price. Last year on Saturday, 64 put him into contention at Troon. Then the most unlikely of final groups. Scratch golfer at age 12, Justin Rose, 18 at the end of this month, today lives the dream of any teenage golfer. And then there's Watts, born in Canada, raised in America, successful pro in Japan, leading the British Open. As a summertime tradition continues here on ABC Sports. Rose at the first.
That was from 201 yards. The wind hard from the left and back into the player.
That's Brian Watts' ball that you saw as Roses rolled past. Both players missing the green here at number 1. Well, you can keep in touch with what's going on as you watch the British Open.
Online, live with lead plays, leaderboards, and tips from the links. Always on America Online. Keyword ABC Sports.
So log on as you watch. Here's Watts, the leader, his third.
Get it.
Nearly the third birdie of the day at the opening hole. To the second.
421-yard par 4, second shot for Nick Price. Nick really nailed this drive, Roger, and he still has 191 yards to the flag. Wind is howling.
Only been one birdie here today, Rossi. Flagstick 23 paces back and 4 from the left. And safely on the green for Nick Price in his 18th Open Championship, a winner in '94 at Turnberry, as we go to 3.
Jim Furyk for birdie. Furyk, so steady in the majors of late, bogey 2, got it back with a birdie here at 3, at level par for the championship, and 3 back to 2.
And the second shot for Tiger Woods.
Tiger hit a great drive, tremendous drive, has 155 yards into the hole, split the middle.
And above the bunker there, just off the green as we go back to 1.
Rose on the way.
The putt started from about 15 feet off the surface of the green, but it was very puttable.
We'll see a lot of that today, won't we, Judy? Especially in the wind from all surfaces. We'll use a putter, something we don't do back home.
Hop ahead to 5.
Difficult shot, only about 12 feet of green to work with. This is a deeper bunker than it looks like. Slopes away from him a little bit. And that's hard to believe he could leave that short of the hole. That was a wonderful shot, maybe a bit unlucky to keep it short.
Now back here at 1, Watts for his par.
Really played a very good second shot. He hit a little 3-wood back into that wind from the right rough and did a good job keeping the ball in the fairway and leaving himself the third. It wasn't a very difficult shot to try to make this 4.
So our leader drops a shot. And now back at 2 under and tied with Tiger and Rose for the moment in the lead. Well, the scoring has been absurd. 81 players are out there today. 38 of them have finished. 5 have shot under 75. Nobody has shot under par that's finished yet today. To the second.
Unbelievable numbers there, Mike. As we look at the second hole, Tiger Woods just off the putting surface. Rossi taking a look at his third shot.
Well, it's not an easy shot because of the wind. If the wind weren't blowing so hard, it wouldn't be too tough a little chip. But anytime the wind's blowing like this, the shots around the green become very difficult.
And we saw a moment ago a beautiful bunker shot by Parnevik. He did indeed make his par, so he remains at 1 under, and now just 1 back of Woods and Rose and Watts. Rossi, he has a putter. It looks like he might have a little bit of tall grass to negotiate 4 or 5 feet in front of his ball.
I'm a little surprised he's putting it, Curtis.
Well, once again, we argue about this all the time, but, you know, maybe he's thinking his worst putt is a whole lot better than his worst chip at this point.
Well, that'll work. Tremendous effort there by Tiger Woods, and he'll have that short putt remaining for his par at the second. As we move back to number 1.
Rose for par. Well, he's not alone. Some of the greats in the game like Price and Love and Couples and O'Mara have lost strokes here at the opening hole. Right in front of him, Justin Rose will make a bogey at 1. Tiger Woods and Brian Watts tied for the lead in the third round of the British Open presented by MasterCard.
Nick Price, this putt for birdie and a share of the lead at the par 4 second. Oh, well, he would come back and make that for his par. And on the tee, Justin Rose.
Wind right back in the player's face here.
Whoa, Judy, what happened to that?
That headed right towards the crowd that is at the right side of the third fairway, but if it hasn't found some deep grass, it might still be all right.
So the 17-year-old amateur with a little trouble there as we move to 3.
Par 4, 407 yards, co-leader Woods.
But plays only about 330. This is just a 5 or 6 iron off the tee just to avoid a bunker that's about 250 off the tee on the right. I know when he stands on the tee, Mike, I know he wants to hit driver so badly because he can put it on very easily, but it just gets so tight, and if you do miss the green, you'll make bogey.
We hop you to 4.
Thomas Bjorn at the par 3 fourth. Bringing it in from left to right.
He has played a lovely shot here, Ian. He's got the ball some 4 feet from the hole after a very solid start on the first 3 holes.
Yes, a birdie at the first mark, and now another opportunity here at the 4th.
Well, this is one of the few pins that is accessible with this wind.
Back to the 3rd tee.
And Nick Price coming off his par.
Again, just a 5 iron, just to put it in the fairway, and then it'll be left with nothing but a sand wedge to the green.
You need a judge of the wind. There it is. Holes playing 407 yards, 5 iron, wedge.
And that's where the patience comes in. You can't allow yourself to hit a driver. Let's take a look at this hole. What they want to hit driver, but again, it's just a 5 or 6 iron. Actually, the second hole, I'm sorry, back into the teeth of the wind. Drive it to this position right here. They'll drive it within 190 yards of the flagstick today, but it'll be a 1 iron to 3 wood in, and it is a very difficult hole. Again, into the wind, it's hard to keep it right on line. Those bunkers will come into play.
And now Justin Rose lining up his second shot at the par 4.
Well, he did find an area where the gallery has been, and the lie of the ball is just fine, but it's 230 yards.
Great shot.
The front bunker is too far back from the green. You would not want to be there. This ball is hooking, though.
And it's hit a cameraman, Judy, and dropped down into the rough there.
So the teenager with a little bit of trouble. Rose, 1 off the lead, held by Woods and Watts. And we're back with more of the third round of the British Open presented by MasterCard after this message and a word from your ABC station. You're looking at an anemometer to measure the wind at 150 feet in the air. It's around 30 right now, miles per hour. It has been as high as 45 just a moment ago. So up there in the air where the golf balls have to travel through, it is as tough as you can imagine. The scores are indicating that half the field is in. 15 players are over 80 at the third. Nick Price is second.
That was from 143. Very accessible flagstick here. A little unlucky.
Boy, that was unlucky, Rossi. That'll be one of the few balls short of the hole today.
You see the ball there. It belongs to the fellow competitor of Nick Price, Tiger Woods. Here was his second a minute ago.
And watch the wind continue to push it. It was a good shot, but it was lucky. You need a lot of luck on a day like today.
Wind not only affecting balls on the air, but once they get on the putting surface. We move you ahead to 6. Parnevik, one of the 6 players under par, his second shot. Jesper, second in this championship twice, including last year.
And even that's short of the hole. I'm going to guess that half the field, there you see another ball just short of the green, half the field cannot get on this green in 2 today. It is 480 yards right into the wind, and the tees are all the way back.
Send you back to 2.
And this is Justin Rose. This is his 4th shot. That was his 4th shot. He had, of course, hit his tee shot way right, found the rough to the left, and then the ball pitched over the green. So the youngster from here in England, just 17 years of age, has some work left for his bogey, as we'll move up to Jim McKay.
Thanks, Mike. You know, we first became aware that youth, very early youth, will be served in golf these days when Tiger Woods exploded into view by winning the Masters by 12 shots last year. Was that just last year? Boy. To be sure, there had been phenoms in the past. The teenage Bobby Jones and the teenage Jack Nicklaus come immediately to mind. But Tiger was something different in color, in the all-inspiring length of his tee shots, in the manner in which he left his elders floundering in his wake down there. Imagine, we said, a kid being able to play like that at the age of 21. Well, how could we imagine then that as he teed up for today's 3rd round of the British Open, he would be 1 stroke behind an English golfer, Justin Rose, who is 5 years younger than Tiger. Add to that the presence in this championship of Sergio Garcia, a Spaniard who was the British Open champion, British amateur champion, I should say, at the age of 18, and Matt Kuchar, the 20-year-old Georgia Tech sophomore with the permanently implanted smile. Matt, of course, was the refreshing springtime sensation in the USA. On the female side, we have Sayri Pak, who has won 2 majors at age 20 and shot a recent round of 61. And don't forget Jenny Siripon, who won our hearts with her wonderful attitude as she battled Pak in the playoff for the U.S. Women's Open title. What does all this mean? Why are these kids exploding on the golf scene all over the world? I don't know, but I do know that my grandson James and his 16-year-old pals are all playing and talking golf, and that the public courses are jammed with youngsters. For whatever reason, the game of golf, which once was thought of as, quote, an old man's game, unquote, has now won the youth of the world. And that, I think, is very lucky for the kids. Moving in with me now is Curtis Strange, whose kids play a pretty good game of golf already, don't they?
Well, they've played as well as I have this week, although today wasn't too bad.
Today you had a wonderful round of 74. I think that's the 3rd or 4th best round shot so far today. How did you do it? What is it like out there, that old question?
It is very, very tough. It's exhausting, both physically and probably more importantly, mentally. It just wears you out. You never get a break. You never seem to have a hole like an easy par 5 where you feel like, oh, I can make birdie here and get one back. You never have that. I'll give you one example today. On the 6th hole that we just saw in the air, I hit a little 7-iron from 87 yards. It wasn't a big one, but I hit a little 7-iron to keep it below the wind. On 17, I had 229 yards and hit a 7-iron pin high. That's the difference in the wind today.
It must seem like forever, doesn't it, out there?
It really does. Like you're never going to finish.
How long did it actually take you?
I'm really 4.5 hours, but it does seem like it takes all day.
Welcome back. Okay.
Jim and Curtis, we go back to the 3rd. Tiger for the lead. Well, he made birdie here on Thursday, and lets a birdie opportunity slip away. Comebacker for par. We'll move ahead 1 to the 4th.
And Thomas Bjorn for birdie and share of the lead. Well, he's ripped that one past the hole. We'll move back to 3.
Woods for par.
And you have to be careful in these short ones because the wind is blowing your head all over the place. play. So that was right in the middle, but you have to be very steady and concentrate on every little putt today.
So we won't see many little one-handed tap-ins or backhanders today.
No, no backhanders today.
Except by guys on 18 who are shot 81, 82 at this point. Back to 2.
And this is Rose for bogey. This would be some kind of save. Well, he's got to feel good about that. That could have been a disastrous start for him after the bogey at the first hole. So this young man, who was knocked out of the first round of the British Amateur Champion by that man that won it, Sergio Garcia, as we look at the leaderboard now, has dropped back to even par. And Brian Watts, you see him there at -2, along with Tiger Woods, Nick Price, and Thomas Bjorn, the first Dane to ever make the Ryder Cup team. And 4 players under par as O'Mara and the rest of the field. And coming up at 5 Eastern and 2 Pacific time, the Tour de France is coming your way today on ABC Sports. As we move to the par 3 7th, 169 yards, Jesper Parnevik.
That was probably a 3-iron, Raj.
Well, Curtis, he has played very solid so far today. We're told it was a 4-iron and all the way to the back of the green. Very difficult flagstick there, just 10 paces back and 5 from the left of that little donut greenside bunker. As we go back to 4. On the tee, Tiger Woods, 97 Masters champion. Disappointing little putt on the hole before, missing his birdie. Price also making his par at the 3rd, downwind par 3. Playing easiest today of all of the par 4s, I would think. Curtis, you played this hole earlier. It's a tough little par 3, this one, left to right wind.
Well, it's 195 yards, but the tough thing is that you have to start it so far to the left that you have to trust your shot. You have to trust your swing and your judgment, and that's going to be a big part of today, is when you start it left of the green in the bunkers, trust the wind enough that it's going to blow it back on the green, and then once it hits the green, it will run sideways to the hole.
Curtis, one thing about this with the flagstick on the right makes it a little easier, don't you think?
Absolutely. You feel like the ball's going to run to the hole, not away from it.
Iron for Tiger. Pars the first 2 days. Hang it out to the left and let it blow back with the wind. And that's a pretty good spot to leave it. I know it's off the edge of the green, but he'll be putting from there. We'll go ahead 1 to 5.
That was Thomas Bjorn from 122 yards. That ball hit somebody right on the head and is rolled back 15, 20 feet from the hole.
Actually, Karam marked well back from behind the green. There's the ball on the left-hand side. Davis Love in the middle of the green. Huge break here for Bjorn.
It's a break for Bjorn, Steve, but it hit a spectator right in the arm. He's rubbing it. It sounded like his head. Thankfully, it was his arm.
To 4. Nick Price now, having benefited from seeing Tiger Woods' shot with a 5-iron. You can see here, Nick is aiming well to the left, as Curtis explained, and Rossi down there with them. The wind is very strong out of the left. And a very good shot just off the back right-hand corner of the green.
After day 1 at Royal Birkdale, 27 players were under par. After yesterday, just 5. Now, 4 players in red figures. We'll be back.
Coming off a bogey at the 6th hole. This long putt. And in this hole, which has been changed since 91, some 20 yards further, they build a new tee. And it is playing much more difficult this year. Matter of fact, it's been the most difficult par 3 as we go to the 3rd.
Our co-leader, Watts. Second shot.
155 yards.
Comes up just short. His downwind second shot to 4.
Tiger Woods for birdie. Having a little run at it. Maybe too much of a run. Par, par, par for Tiger, the first 3 holes. Back to 3.
It's been a bogey start for the amateur Rose. He's missed the fairway 3.
Well, just across from where Brian Watts was, the ball in light rough, but down just a little bit.
Just makes it harder to control this bounce. And watch this thing take off. Still not bad. Either going to putt or a little chip back up into the wind.
Ahead to 4.
Tiger having a good look at this one for his 4th par in a row.
Ian, I wonder, you know, him hitting that ball so hard. I know you want to play aggressively and putt aggressively, but, you know, in the wind, I feel like you want to always try to keep it around the hole because the next one's so tough.
I agree there. The last thing you need is 5 and 6 footers for par when you don't need them. You're going to have enough of them as it is.
And he's got 2.5, 3 feet coming back. We know he putts very firmly to the holes, but I think in the wind you have to really settle down and know that par is a good score, and you're going to have, as Ian just said, you have enough of tough 4, 5, 6 footers for par. You don't want to make yourself work harder than you have to. And there he had a very makeable birdie opportunity, and now's working for bogey. Patience. Patience. I know you hear it a lot, but you need them today.
And here earlier on was Nick Price for his birdie. And that's what you need to do. You just need to lay them up to the hole nicely. Don't get too aggressive. To the 7th.
Hell, Ian, as you mentioned, these 4 and 5 footers are the difficult ones. This for par for Parnevik. Oh, goodness. Goodness sakes. So Parnevik, after the bogey at 6, facing another one at 7 as we go to the 3rd.
And Justin Rose set for his 3rd.
Just a little downslope there off the back edge of the green. This back into the wind, so a shot he should be able to easily control.
It was mentioned earlier that Rose did not win the British Amateur. He had to qualify for this event, shot 74-72 on Monday to make the field.
Judy, there's a good chance he chipped that one because there was a sprinkler head between his ball and the green. But a good shot.
Hutt coming back to save par. Justin Rose starting in the last group, wondering if he could join this very elite group that on the men's side has not had any additions in 65 years as winners, as amateurs of the U.S. Open or the British Open. Of course, the name Bobby Jones dominates this list, happening 7 times. And with Shasiraporn in the playoff in the U.S. Women's Open, that was the chance to add the next line to that list that just came up a shot short on the 20th hole of their playoff. Now the co-leader, Watts, trying to save par.
And I just can't emphasize enough that it doesn't look like the wind is blowing too tough right here, but when he's over this ball trying to steady himself, it's like somebody is from all directions pushing you. Your head is moving just fractionally all around, and you try to wait for just a little lull, and when that comes, stroke it.
So he remains at 2 under.
And that's a lot calmer start than yesterday. He started yesterday with a bogey, then 2 birdies, and then a double bogey, so it was wild yesterday.
To 5.
Well, something of a bizarre 5th hole for Thomas Bjorn. He hit the spectator carom on the green and paid it off. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. That'll be a golf ball or a dozen balls. Maybe a private lesson. He takes the lead. Now Woods.
It's a birdie hole if you can put it in the fairway. If you can't, it's a hard hole.
shortest par 4 on the golf course, but as Rossi said, from the fairway it's easy, from the rough, something more.
I'm out of shit.
Well, the contestants coming out to the third round of the 127th British Open find nothing but wind, and with it, bogeys galore. Brian Watts and Thomas Bjorn tied at the top at 2 under. Woods and Price one back. The amateur, Justin Rose, shaky start, but good playing nevertheless. O'Meara and Couples paired together off to a dreadful start. Couples 4 over after 4. It is a day of patience, perseverance, and hopefully you can hold your mental wits together. Yes, it's windy, folks. Sit down, tune in, enjoy it with us. Should be a great third round here at Birkdale. Back at the 5th, Price second shot.
From 150 yards.
Go. Get up.
That's a good shot.
It certainly is, Rossi.
As Rossi said, maybe one of the shorter holes in the golf course. It's certainly not one of the easiest because the wind is right in your face off the tee. Most of the players, I hit a 1-iron. Most of the players hit 1 2-iron. You saw Tiger maybe a 3-wood just to the corner here, and then you're left with some 150 to 60 yards. But again, right into the wind, slightly out of the left. Maybe a 4-iron, maybe a 5-iron, maybe a 6-iron. Just all depends on what type of shot you want to hit and how low you want to hit it. Today's hole location, back left against those 3 bunkers on the left. You do not want to miss it over there. Let's go back to the 4th.
4-iron for Watts, our co-leader, at 2 under par.
Well, he hit the ball quite nicely starting out, and this is another good one.
Yeah, that's a beauty, Judy. That's rolled up to about 8 feet from the hole.
Second shot for Woods here at the 5th.
Little knockdown shot from 133.
Hit it too solidly right through the wind. It's a day when you've got to control the ball flight, hopefully control your emotions as we go back to 4.
The young amateur with a 4-iron at the 4th. Also hitting a beautiful shot here, just rolling up towards the hole. And about 15 to 18 feet left for his birdie too. Back to 5.
Woods from the back of the 5th. We tend to want to dwell on how long he hits it, but he has a short game that's wonderful to watch. He works hard at it. It's not just God-given. There's a lot of sweat involved. You're going to miss a lot of greens today. Forget how many greens you hit. Just post a score.
Go, ball. Go, ball. Great.
Nicely done. So Tiger with a bogey at 4, 1 over, 1 out of the lead.
As you saw Steve just chipping, or Tiger's hitting this little chip shot, you can see that the way you want to hit this, he has like a 7-iron, and he just carried it on the edge of the green to roll up some 40 feet. But look at where he has it back in his stance. Maybe not quite that far, but it is off his right foot. And that enables him to hit down on the ball, hit it very solidly, and get it going forward in a low trajectory. And he hit a very nice one. As Steve said, there is a lot of work in that short game. He just doesn't have the gift, you know, naturally. Yes, he has natural ability, but he also works very hard at all types of the game, all parts of the game, and you have to do that.
And now Price for birdie. Great effort. You've got to like Nick Price's chances when the weather's like this. He's got a very fast swing, tempo's always been quick, but his balance is so good. And these are conditions that should play right into his hands. I'd be surprised if any player in this field is under par at the end of 54 holes to 4.
The young amateur for his birdie. Perhaps a little too cautious, coming up a foot short. And he will remain at even par for the championship. 2 over par today. To 5.
Woods looks simple, but the ball moves left.
And also has to regroup after missing the short one on the last hole. It always is in the back of your mind.
Yesterday, early in his second round, he missed short putt after short putt after short putt, but then turned it around with birdies at 17 and 18. Here again, short misses at 4 and 5 result in 2 early bogeys. And he's running hot. To 4.
Watts for birdie. Left to right. Just hanging out to the edge. And he'll remain in the lead at 2 under par as well.
So Watts and Thomas Bjorn, the Japanese and the European Tour, tied for the lead. Now only 3 players under par in the British Open. 2 back, Jesper Parnevik 3 off the pace. Davis Love is 4 back. Mark O'Mara is 5 back, the Masters champion, involved in a very interesting situation at the extraordinarily difficult 6th hole, a 480-yard par 4, and Mark McCumber is at number 6 to give us some of the background. Mark, what's going on out there?
Well, it's something that I've never seen. Mark hit a ball way right of the 6th fairway. It seemed like it almost got to the Irish Sea up on one of these dunes. He searched for, they say, 4 minutes, started heading back. As he was back toward the teeing area, someone found his ball. Then there was a big debate whether his ball could be identified by him as his ball within the 5 minutes. He walked back up to the area. More discussion ensued. Mike Shea, the United States Tour, gave him a ride back to the landing area. And I'm not exactly sure what they resolved, but the question was his ball identified by him within the allotted 5 minutes?
Okay, well, let's run off a buggy there.
So let's go back a little bit earlier, a conversation. Mike Shea, the PGA Tour, one of the rules officials, along with Mark O'Mara and David Rickman from the R&A.
20, I turned and started to walk towards my bag to get a club. And then as I was about 20 yards away, they said they found it. Now, I proceeded, but you know, I mean, that could be anything. So then my caddy went to look at it, and they started screaming, but I was about 3/4 of the way back here. So, and they said it was my ball, because my caddy identified it then. But, you know, I could have taken 5 minutes, 15 for me. I'm willing to do whatever you guys feel comfortable.
No, hold on. John Paramore come in. I think John heard the... John, did you say that television had a time on the cert period?
So it was on the radio, a member, a spectator said on the radio network that it had been timed at around 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking with the USGA about what happens if a player is away from the area when a ball is found, and then the 5 minute comes between them. We're on.
Well, we'll let those guys.
So you heard Davis Love question if they could go ahead. They will go ahead and play through the group that was behind Couples and O'Mara. Right now we're going to bring in Frank Hannigan, former executive director of the USGA. The conversation on the radio is with John Paramore from the PGA European Tour, who handles all the rulings on their tour. Frank, try to explain what they're talking about and what can be resolved at this point.
First, we have a question of fact. Was the original ball found or not found by anyone within 5 minutes? If it was not found by anyone within 5 minutes, then the ball is lost. Now, let's go to the definition of a lost ball. It is lost if it is not found or identified as his by the player within 5 minutes after the player's side began to search with it. So let's assume, number 2, that the search consumed, let's say, 4 minutes and 30 or 40 seconds, and someone else found the ball, his caddy or his fellow competitor or an official, but then O'Meara himself didn't see it until after 5 minutes was up. But right now, the little word, conjunction, or, is driving the rules makers crazy. This is exactly what happened to Lee Jansen in the U.S. Open in the last round in the 5th hole. And there's a difference of opinion as to whether or not someone else can identify the ball within 5 minutes. If you listen carefully to that tape, you heard David Rickman, Secretary of the RNA Rules Committee, driving the car, say, we're talking to the USGA right now about this. So that's the background, but I can't tell what they ruled.
So in the meantime, this has taken at least a dozen minutes, and as we mentioned, the group behind, Davis Love and our co-leader, Thomas Bjorn, are playing through now as O'Meara works his way over there. If you have a Rules of Golf book, page 74 talks about a ball lost, and you can understand why this is so complicated. So the group playing through, our co-leader Bjorn, set to play his third at this par 4. Well, this hole says par 4, but in reality it has been a par 5. This is similar, if we're talking about comparisons to the U.S. Open, to number 17 at Olympic. A lot of the players have said, in my mind, this is a par 5 this week. On the tee, Nick Price.
Now, Nick can get home, but he has to hit a tremendous drive and a tremendous 3-wood. That's an ideal position, but can he hit it far enough?
Yeah. Let's drop you back now to the 5th hole.
Brian Watts, now second shot at the short 5th.
126. He's got to take an 8 or a 9 iron and just try to knock the ball down.
Don't get cute. Put it in the middle of the green if you can. May not look good from your perspective, but from the players, it's not all bad. Today's about making as many pars as you can up ahead at 6.
Tiger on the tee.
Well, what a drive this is. It would not have carried the bunker, though, if it had been going at it. It's up there where he'll probably be able to play an iron into this green.
One of the few people to challenge that bunker and go over it. The front of that bunker is 260 off the tee, and Tiger gets past there. We have 3 groups on the 6th hole. The 7th is wide open right now. We'll continue to figure out the O'Meara situation and continue with our coverage of the 127th Open Championship from Royal Birkdale.
Things a little more calm here at 5. This is Watts for birdie.
Up and over that big tier in the green.
Great story. Watts failed 5 times to qualify on the PGA Tour, and now as we go to 6.
And Thomas Bjorn for par. This is a difficult hole, and the co-leader has been very upset about the delay that they've had to incur with the O'Meara group. And he is no longer the co-leader. There's a long list of players making bogey here at 6, but Bjorn's a little uptight about the situation. Back to 5.
Justin Rose from the left rough played his second there. This long putt for birdie.
Uphill, back into the wind. It'll be slow.
Well, after the shaky start, the young amateur has acquitted himself nicely now. Now for the strange events at 6.
Well, Mark McCumber, as you're down there, we see Mark O'Meara walking onto the green. What has happened?
This is incredibly bizarre. Actually, we've discussed that the debate was whether the ball was found within the 5 minutes. He went back and forth on 2 occasions. They finally ruled that the ball was found within the 5 minutes. He did not play from the landing area a second time. As he went to his ball had been moved by a spectator. They did not know the exact point, so he then had to drop a ball within 2 club lengths to the nearest point. It rolled, had to place it. Now he has actually only played from there, and he's incurred no penalty at this time. And as mentioned, Freddie Couples, his own player, playing companion, had to play out. Thomas Bjorn and Davis Love had a tremendous wait, which did not make them happy. And at this stage, Mark O'Meara has not incurred a penalty after a long, long wait and a long debate.
Mark, was his third shot the one that landed on the green?
His third shot is the one that landed on the green, yes.
So this would be a par putt.
This would be the longest par ever recorded.
Yeah. by length, 480 yards, and by time, about 25 minutes.
That's about how long it took me to play that hole today.
So best as we could figure, and we'll wait a few minutes to make sure all circumstances are proper, and what we've heard is correct, this would be a bogey for O'Meara at number 6. But if it took some of the best rules officials in the world and a lot of radios and a lot of conversation, you can understand why we just hedge a little bit and assume that O'Meara made bogey to drop back to 4 over par. Well, Bjorn and Love, who started after Couples and O'Meara, are now ahead of them in the playing order, and we go back to the 6th fairway, where the second-to-last group, Price and Woods, have had a little bit of a wait as well.
Nick has 225 yards for a second shot. Looks like he's got an iron out, Curtis. You think he can get there?
Not if that wind is blowing like we think it is up here in the booth. I tell you, that is some long iron if he can get it there. Maybe just trying to chase it up to the front of the green, Rossi. You know, just a little bit short isn't too bad.
That's right. It still is blowing. There's no question about that.
That's exactly what he tried to do and hit a nice one.
That's a good shot.
And the reason being, he feels like he has more control running that ball on the ground like that with a 1 or 2 iron than putting that 3 or 4 wood way up in that wind, and then you never know where it's going to come down.
And Tiger's a little bit closer by going over the bunker with his drive, isn't he?
Yeah, he didn't quite go over the bunker. He carried it right at the left edge of the bunker, kicked down to the left. He has 210 yards to the hole. The wind is still blowing hard, Curtis. It hasn't let up.
And even though he hit a tremendous drive, it's still probably a 2 iron.
Lost it to the left and short, so even though Tiger a little bit longer off the tee, Nick Price in better position after the second shots on a hole where that second is very often more difficult than the drive.
Absolutely, because the bunker we tried to go left of early in the week, you can't get to except for Tiger got there just then, but Tiger's probably found a pot bunker just left of the green. Maybe he just missed it, but again, short of the green, if he hadn't gotten in the tall grass, will be a playable third.
Woods coming off back-to-back bogeys at level par for the championship. 2 behind our solo leader, Brian Watts.
It's just a good example of par not making any difference here in the British Open. 480 yards into the wind.
And that's what Watts faces now on the tee at 6.
Just for a little perspective, that bunker at the right is about 260 off the tee, and this one's turning back to the left.
And Judy, he's probably 25, maybe 30 yards short of that bunker.
So a long way home for our leader, Brian Watts, leading Nick Price and Thomas Bjorn by 1 in the 3rd round of the British Open here on ABC Sports. Thing that's not getting blown around in this wind. At Ship at Sea. A windy day as you look at the Irish Sea. At 14, just a moment ago, Payne Stewart is second at the par 3. Hey, first birdie of the day. Payne was 9 over for his round at that point. Back to 7.
And that's Thomas Bjorn for birdie. He did make his bogey putt, so after the birdie at 5 and the bogey at 6 at 1 under as we go to the 6th.
Tough third a moment ago for Tiger.
Grass lying against him. Very, very difficult shot.
So that or he will make 3 consecutive bogeys. And right after Tiger, it was Nick Price, a long attempt at a birdie. You could almost hear him. I hit that hard.
You can't believe it sometimes. You just have to hit it so hard.
The 7th?
That's the par putt for Bjorn, so he remains at 1 under, and maybe has calmed down a little bit after blowing off a little steam at that 6th hole as we go back to the 6th.
Tiger, and this was just a second ago his par attempt.
Rossi, he looks very impatient right now and frustrated. He has to do some calming down to realize he's not the only one out there playing poorly.
That's right, Curtis. I think the fact that play has slowed down so much has really bothered him also.
Oh, a long one for bogey.
You know, when you get out there and you get 3 or 4 over par, you feel like you're the only person out there playing poorly, but you're not. It's a tough day. As we said earlier, the average score in this field today is 78. I can't remember the last time it was that high in a golf tournament, much less a major championship.
Tiger having to back off for double. Curtis, you started the day tied for 69th position, just making the cut on the number. You've moved up to 35th already, shooting 4 over. Gives you an idea of how players with a good round are moving up.
I like this moving up, sitting right here next to you. This is easy. Oh, it's not easy. Boy, I went through the same thing Tiger's going through, and Nicky and Bjorn, every one of them. It's a long, frustrating day. We can't say it enough how tough it is on you mentally. You have to be so solid, so secure, so confident to survive this day.
We saw you on number 1 tee about 7.5 hours ago. You didn't laugh very much there.
You weren't laughing all day long as we watched Nicky for par, about 5 feet. Little left to right. Again, what makes his putt much more difficult is the wind blowing him everywhere. But you're not, you say you saw me on the first tee. Well, going to the first tee, it's going to be a battle. Mm-hmm. It's not like you go come out there and really enjoy a round of golf. It is a battle from the first tee on, and you know it. And it's not much fun now, but looking back on it, it will be a lot of fun to have a good laugh. But right now, during the golf tournament, it's a lot of work.
And Nick does everything there. It's a good second shot, decent putt, has that par putt, and comes out on him. To the 8th.
Thomas Bjorn, tee shot just an iron, this hole playing directly downwind. And a beautiful tee shot, center cut. Great view there of what the players have in front of them. Back to 6.
And one of the 2 players still under par for the championship, our leader, Brian Watts. His second shot.
Now, he not only has a difficult shot because it's back into the wind, he probably can't get there, but if he's not careful with his 3-wood and doesn't get it up, he'll catch the lip of this bunker that's sitting right in front of him.
Well, that's exactly right. He is about 20 yards, maybe a yard or 2 more back from this bunker, but the top of the bunker and the hillside keeps him from really trying to bore this ball back into the wind. 231 yards. I agree, Curtis. I do not think he can get there.
He is aiming it right in there. Look to go a little bit to the right, Judy.
I think it's going to find the center somewhere short.
Good shot.
231 yards into a wind that's blowing the flagstick all over. Wow. To 7.
And this is Fred Couples for par. Freddie struggling 6 over on his round today. He was in that greenside bunker right behind there, hit a beautiful little shot out. So Couples comes away from this 7th hole, which has been the most difficult of the par 3s here at Royal Birkdale, with a par as we go back to 6.
Rose missed the fairway. Second shot.
226, a nice lie in the rough. It was a good angle.
deserving of applause from his fellow countrymen, many of the players here, many of the patrons here. Well, everyone is now through 6 here in round 3. 56 hit the fairway. Only 3 hit the green. Stephen Ames rose there just a moment ago, and Raymond Russell, the 3 players who hit the green. They deserve to be mentioned individually for that accomplishment. Well, here there was 1 birdie yesterday, 11 birdies when it laid down in terms of wind on Thursday. We haven't seen a birdie yet here today. Rose will have an opportunity for one. It's a 480-yard par 5 that they're playing as a par 4 here in the British Open. Brian Watts leads Thomas Bjorn by 1. They're the only 2 under par.
British Open clubhouses like this Edwardian structure at Royal Lytham tend to be small and quaint compared with their American counterparts, like this pseudo castle at Wingfoot. So American visitors to Birkdale have a tendency to blink and think, what in the world is that when they show up here? The Birkdale Clubhouse, with its gleaming white walls and flat roofs on different levels, is a clubhouse like no other. It was opened in 1935, and the Birkdale Clubhouse has been called an interesting example of the Art Nouveau style of architecture by some, a dreadful mistake by others.
Justin Rose at the 7th with a very tricky little chip on this par 3.
The ball's sitting pretty nicely, though, on the hillside.
That's well done. That was recorded, now alive. Brian Watts, who had a putt from the back of the green, has this for a par.
Peter, I always get the sense that players, when it's this windy, they know, subconsciously, they know they're going to miss a lot of greens, and the short game does take over. Did you ever feel like that?
Yeah, I think that it's a different mentality when you've played a lot of golf on these sort of courses. Let's just watch if Watts can get his par. I thought he got it. I think it's a question of, it's very easy to say patience and rhythm and all the rest of it, but I think there's more to it than that. I think many modern players, and I don't mean this in a rude way, are so used to perfection that when things aren't perfect, they tend to get flustered and annoyed. They expect perfect weather, the golf courses to be in perfect condition, the hotels, the transportation, the parking facilities, the dining facilities, everything has to be perfect. And they're surprised when it's different. Woods at the 8th, I thought Woods yesterday was magnificent, the way, with his slightly volatile temper, the way he handled things. I thought he did extremely well. And he's still a big factor in this championship. He's going still through a learning process. He still hits the ball too high. He hasn't learned to take much more club and push it in gently. Price, his 2nd to the 8th.
It's from 162 yards, right in the middle of the fairway.
Good shot. Has he been striking the ball well, Bob?
He's played beautifully, Peter. Hadn't putted very well.
Rose gets his par at the 7th, and after that shaky start, 3 from the edge of the 1st and 2nd, he's settled down very well. And of course, if he wins the championship, if that were to happen, he'd go home with the claret jug and the medal, but no money. But it may not be long before he's accepting money, maybe turning pro very rapidly. Let's hope not too soon, as Watts taps in, but that's a 3-putt for him. So, another little change. Watts drops the stroke. Look at that. Only one player at this moment under par. And it was a fair bet this morning, I think, that if you could have got any sort of odds at all, that of anybody breaking par today, anyone doing a 69 or better. Now, the only man under par is at the 9th, Bjorn. Well, he smashed that as hard as he could over the hill and far away. And, well, I know not where. The wind does appear to be dropping a little bit. He's had his fair share of good luck today. He had a good bounce in at the 5th and then hold a big putt.
I don't really want to do that. No, I wouldn't do that.
That was recorded. Found it in the bush. That's me. What a silly boy I am to put it there. Well, there's plenty of picking and dropping and penalties today. He gave it a big smash for his second. He's taken an unplayable lie, dropped it out. So this is 4. It'll be a small miracle if he gets down in 2 from here. And unless he holds this, there'll be nobody under par. You've just got to keep everything going under control. Try and think of shots. Imagination. Use the ground conditions. Take a 2-iron instead of a 5. Chip it along the wound if nothing's in your way. Some shot. Well, that was beautifully played. Beautiful. Escape with a 5 by the look of it. Here's a funny old game, isn't it? Remarkable. Up to the 12th, Parnevik.
This is all playing almost impossible because the wind is from the right, and there's a wonderful shot, but just hit a little bit too hard. But that's all you can do on a day like today is hit the best you can and hopefully have a little luck. But the wind is so hard from right to left, you can't hardly stop it on the green.
Tiger Woods at the 8th. Back into the wind, and the wind slowing it, pushing it away. Behind the final pair.
Straight downwind, elevated tee. I would tell you that Brian Watts has struggled a little bit each day on the front 9. The back 9 is where he has done his scoring. He has played the back 9 6 under par in the first 2 rounds.
Price for a birdie at the 8th, and well, I thought he got it. That was recorded. Tiger now for his par 4.
Just a little bit from left to right.
I think it's interesting and perhaps difficult to understand for you folks at home that these players are taking irons off 13 holes here, if you count the 4 short holes. 13 irons off the tee on a course measuring over 7,000 yards is quite unique. Parnevik at the 12th, that needs to turn. It won't. Well, it tries a bit. Good judgment of pace. Thomas Bjorn is about to go back to even par for the championship, and this is his little putt. He hits these in so hard. He's already missed one today, a little bit longer than that, but that's almost a magical bogey 5. And a little smiley knows it. He knows he got out of jail there. 1 over. Par here out is 34. Very strict today. Very strict out with par. So 3, 4 names at the top of the leaderboard at even par for the championship. Nobody in red figures. Now look at this. Now look at this. If I can hack it out of here, I bet we'll see Mark McCormick loom out the bushes in a minute, waiting to sign him up. Come here, son. I can make your fortune, especially if you keep out of that stuff.
It only wants to fly at about 150 yards, just short of the putting surface. There we go.
Well, a little bit unlucky maybe. Oh, it's come up quite well. In fact, it's doing better and better. Seen a few shots today, particularly on the 3rd hole, that pitched just short of the green and stopped, and others that bounded up close to the hole. So there's still a bit of good luck to be found. Here's young Rose.
Quite a cool young customer.
Peter. He is, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he is.
He's a
Very
very
nice young man.
Nice young man. He's South African parents, and he's got a nice swing, hasn't he?
He has a nice swing. He has a wonderful demeanor for the game. Doesn't get too rattled. 163 yards here.
Ah, he's pulled it. Must have done, has he? Or pushed it, pulled it. We got away with it. And he's got a tremendous amount of support here. A lot of people pulling for him, and sometimes that can be an aggravation because he's so well-mannered. He's thanking everybody, taking his hat off, etc. He hears everything at this moment.
Well, he gets semi-wild greetings at every green.
Yeah. Well, he could be a good catch, you know, couldn't he, in a few years' time? To the 9th. Nick Price.
One of the few blonde tee shots on this golf course. Just hitting an iron up over the sand dunes. Trust your lawn, and with the wind right to left, it hits that fairway and bounces to the left, and that is not good.
So much depends on the line. Now, Tiger nearly drove this green on day 1.
And this is a smart play, I think. This
Well, yeah, he can drive it so far down there. And the fairway's kind of wide down there. Takes all the trouble out of play, really, the bad trouble.
Well, even if he does hit it in the rough, Ross, he's so close he can get it on the green.
Exactly. That's some drive there. That's perfect.
Thomas Bjorn at the 10th. This is a hard driving hole.
This is the toughest driving hole on the golf course. The wind left to right, the fairway slopes from left to right, and then it doglegs to the left. You seem to lose every one to the right. Now let's take a look at what we're talking about. The wind is blowing out of the left very sharply this way. As you see the fairway sloping to the right, these two bunkers will catch every ball that leaks off to the right. And as we make the turn left to the green, you're only left with about 140 or 50 yards, but now you turn right back up into the wind. And it seems such a simple hole, but it is very, very tough. You can make 5 or 6 here just like the blink of an eye. And here's what we look at is that all the balls here, but so many balls leak out to the right off the tee with the wind and catch that bunker, catch the heavy rough out to the right. Just gets very difficult. And then the second shot is over sand dunes blonde. So from tee to green, only 403 yards, but a difficult hole.
Back to the 8th green. Justin Rose to putt first.
Longish putt is a little downhill at the start, but the center of the green almost seems to flatten out a little bit. The putt back into the wind.
Yeah, Judy, today most of these putts are being left short because you feel like you're downhill all the way to the hole, but it does flatten out, and then the wind blowing right into your face will hold that ball up. Peter, you played with him last week. What did you think of his game?
I thought he was very good. I thought he played, he struck the ball beautifully on his home course. He went round about 64 shots. I outdrove him once, sir. Can you believe that? I got quite lightheaded and had to sit down for 10 minutes.
I don't know his height exactly, but tall, lanky young man. I don't know, close to 6'3".
That could be in if it runs. I think he's beginning to enjoy it now, Judy. The nerve ends have settled down a bit. Well, there have been 6 or 7 amateurs have won this great championship over the years. Nobody since about 1930, so it would be quite a turn-up for the book. I think he's getting... Well, I hope he doesn't get carried away by the adulation. Well, if he does turn pro, I bet a few people are waving checkbooks in the air. There's much to think about and consider.
Judy has warmed up just a little bit, hadn't it? As we go back to the 10th hole. Thomas Bjorn, second shot. You saw a little punch shot, third shot, I'm sorry, into about 30 feet short of the hole.
Yes, he found one of those bunkers you were showing us to the right of the hole. Furyk at the 12th.
Get down. Come down.
3 over today.
Get down.
And that was a 4-iron. Could be okay. Just held up. Back to the 8th. Watts for a 3. Could be. Oh, geez, slowed up downwind.
Judy, I was asking you, it has warmed up a little bit, hasn't it?
It's definitely warmer, and the wind is fierce, but I do not think it is nearly as bad as it was 2 or 3 hours ago.
Well, you get affected by the tides here quite considerably, and high tide tonight is 7:30, and that's usually when the wind drops, but of course play should all be over by then, even though we had the long delay with Mike O'Meara's problems at the 6th hole. Tiger at the 9th after that massive drive.
That's just 60 yards into the hole, pitching up the hill. He's only hit 2 greens so far.
Unlucky. You can't legislate for that. Just got a bite when he didn't want it. But you can't have everything.
Tiger Woods, 2 back, 4 tied for the lead. Peter Alice, we thank you for your time as you go back to the BBC. We look forward to visiting again, same time tomorrow. Price, Rose, Watts, Bjorn, all at even par and tied for the lead. Parnevik is 1 back as we continue with the 3rd round of the 127th British Open.
The community of Southport has been in existence for only about 200 years. It began...
Good attempt, but back-to-back bogeys for Bjorn. He is now over par for the championship. Only 3 at level. And there's the youngster Rose on 9.
Going with an iron off the tee, which is a smart, safe play. You know, he seems to demonstrate a maturity far beyond his years. His course management has been excellent after the shaky start. With his now here at the green, it is Tiger for his birdie after that huge tee shot. Well, you need a little more oomph for that one.
Well, Steve, just past noon in New York. For those of you who might just be joining us, it is another windy day here at the British Open. No one is under par for the championship. 3 tied for the lead. Nick Price, Justin Rose, the amateur, and Brian Watts, the American who plays on the Japanese tour. Here's some of what has transpired on the front 9. If you are just hopping on board, Tiger Woods 4 over for today's round. Started 1 back, a bogey at 4, a bogey at 5, a double bogey at 6. We go back to 5, where he was in position for a par. He had 133 yards in with his second shot. It was long, and he misses the par putt, so a bogey followed by a double. That has Tiger 4 over. How's Brian Watts doing? He started the day in the lead, made a bogey at 1, a bogey at 6, had this for par at 7. So Watts drops a stroke at the par 3, and that's why he is 3 over to this point in his round, playing the 9th hole. Justin Rose, age 17, turns 18 later this month. The amateur in the last group, bogeyed 1, bogeyed 2, but Curtis, we've seen him gain his composure and play some steady golf.
And you have to do that in the wind. You know, 3 or 4 pars in a row today, that shows that some kind of momentum going. There's not birdies today, it's a bunch of pars.
He's now made 6 pars in a row. Nick Price at the very first hole had this for par. So it was a 3-putt bogey on the opening hole for Nick Price.
And that's the last thing you want to do on the first hole, is miss a shot or miss a short putt.
Thomas Bjorn found himself in the lead, but on the 9th, lost it bad to the left. This was his second shot. Chasing after it to see where it would go. He lost this one well to his right, had it taken unplayable, had a very good 4th shot, made his bogey putt, and that dropped him to even par, and you just saw him miss a lengthy par putt on the 10th. So that's how Bjorn has dropped from those 3 at even par, and maybe Jesper Parnevik is playing the steadiest golf of the day. Just 1 over, not a lot of ups and downs. Here's Price at 9.
Nick Price played through the green, hit a nice pitch to here. It just wears on you.
Steve, he hasn't made anything.
And now live, Watts second.
Wind just sweeps across from the right, 180 yards.
He has to start that ball probably 25 or 30 yards right of the flagstick.
Any green hit in regulation is a good one today. Up at 11.
Second shot for Thomas Bjorn.
That shot from 166 yards.
408-yard par 4 is the 11th hole. Not a birdie has been made here today. Bjorn, who's had a great year on the European Tour with a couple of victories. As we go back to 9.
Rose is second on the way, Judy.
That was from 168. He started it almost at the flagstick.
This young man's having the time of his life. He is center stage. He just reached it earlier than most. This is great for amateur golf. We watch the Women's Open and the flashing eyes of Jenny Siseraporn, and the great job she did as she lost that dramatic playoff to Sari Pak. Now could it be Justin Rose again? And the amateurs this year, as we just talked about, have done beautifully in the Open. Matt Kuchar, of course, the early sensation at the Masters and then the U.S. Open, missed the cut here. We talked about Jenny. Beth Bauer at the Dinah Shore, the first major of the LPGA Tour, tied for 16th. So golf and amateur golf in particular in great shape around the world. Sergio Garcia made the cut here, as did Didier Debut. So 3 amateurs made the cut in this Open Championship, and Justin Rose, clearly the man of the week as he fires a second round 66 to tie the best round ever in an Open Championship by an amateur. Judy, is he getting swept up in the emotion right now?
Well, that's very easy to do, and these fans just love him to death. There's a lot of young people in the crowd, and he just gave Matt Kuchar, who's in the crowd, the thumbs up. They are friends, and Matt very happy to see one of his friends doing so well since he didn't.
Well, it is the best of golf when amateurs can compete at this level and compete well. They have thus far this year.
Steve, it just goes to show you how good and how maturing at such a young age these guys are. The good training from an early start. I mean, they work hard. It's incredible. We would never thought, at our age, we would have never thought a 17-year-old could play at this level.
No, but I think Tiger sent a message, Curtis. I know I've got 2 teenage boys, as do you, and Tiger's early play on the tour, I think, sent a message to kids that, hey, you can step it up a notch. You can succeed. You can make it if you can play well.
Well, they're certainly doing that. That's incredible.
It's just nice to see genuine emotion. We saw it at the Women's Open. We're seeing it here. You know, most of the attention early was on Kuchar and Garcia, but this young man,
they'll probably change when they turn pro, Steve. They'll get like all of us. We hope not.
I think it's wonderful to see. What a contrast. Brian Watts, American, plays in Japan. Struggled on the PGA Tour, a great success in Japan. Playing with the amateur upstart. Good par. All pars are good pars today.
He hasn't really had any missteps tee to green. The putter has just been very cool.
13, the man who won't go away in major championships, Jim Furyk, got a nice bounce, got a nice roll. Furyk just hangs around the first page of the leaderboard. Here he is in 7th place, 3 over par today. You may laugh at his swing, but you don't laugh at his score. And now Rose here at 9. This could take the lead outright. Remember yesterday, if you happened to join us, he finished eagle birdie in his round to post a 66, the low round of the day. And it has been fun to watch.
Steve, I can't help but think the one part of the game that really does get affected when you get too high or too low, too emotional, is the putts. Has to keep his concentration, keep his feel, and just play golf.
So close.
Good speed, though. It's one thing I'll look at. If the speed gets off, that's when the emotions and the nerves are really starting to affect you. But that looked like a good speed, and if you see a player keep it around the hole, that means they're all in check.
Nicely done.
Well, can Justin Rose keep this going? Will the wind keep blowing? The forecast is for lighter winds, not 25 miles an hour, but 20. And rain early and late in the round. Tiger's 2 back. Can he make a birdie on the way in? Where will they all stand heading to tomorrow's final round? Our live coverage begins at 9:30 Eastern in the morning here on ABC Sports as the summertime tradition continues. 81 players have finished the front 9, the entire field. Grand total, 30 birdies. That's why no one's under par at the British Open. One back, here's his second at 10.
165 yards out of the rough, going up the hill and into the breeze. Oh, and look at this. This is what happens when you get a little greedy, Curtis. He tried to knock that ball down low and keep out of the wind and just never got it at all.
Yeah, and by doing that, you have to take a straight-face club, maybe a 4 or 5 iron. You just can't get it in the air.
So it is the veteran names that are taking the steps backwards. And the youngsters, Rose and Watts, who was from the Japanese tour and hasn't really made a name for himself at this level of competition, yeah, like everyone else, they're taking steps back too, but not as large. Curtis, what kind of emotions must be going through Justin Rose? We were watching him as he walked up 9, and you and Steve were talking, smiling, waving, hey, Cooch, how you doing? But you would think at this point that focus has to be between the ropes. That's what I see all you guys talk about and grinding it through majors.
I don't understand it. I mean, again, at 17, I was just out of diapers. I don't know. I could have never imagined playing in the U.S. Open or the British Open at that stage. He has to be not only playing the best golf of his career, but really, really enjoying it. And I think, you know, if he gets through today, tomorrow will be an awful tough test. The wind's not supposed to be quite as tough, but it's going to be a long, hard day. But right now, it looks like he's having a lot of fun, and we're having a lot of fun watching him.
You said that you actually had fun in your experience today as you sit back and watch it. Are you serious? I mean, what's fun about this?
Well, you got to remember, we do this for a living. And Peter Allis made a very good point. In the States, and as well as Europe now, is that we are spoiled, and everything is perfect. The golf courses are perfect, the hotels are perfect, the food, we have showers that have hot water all the time, things like that. And when we come over here, things aren't so perfect sometimes. Right. We have wind, we have rain, we have, you know, fairways that are a little scratchy, tight lies, and you do learn to appreciate it. You appreciate what we have at home, but you learn to appreciate that this is the way golf has always been played over here.
Let's go back out to the golf course for a moment and check Tiger Woods and Nick Price's group at the 10th, and Nick Price still in some trouble. We saw his second. Rossi, let's update what's happened since then.
Well, now he's got a horrendous lie for his third shot. Hit it too hard, knocked over the green. This is a nightmare of a hole right here, and he just did miss the fairway.
And we're watching him now play his fourth. So Price has that for a bogey putt at 10. He's 1 back and 1 over, but sure to lose at least a stroke here. Now we're going to drop, or move ahead to 12.
Thomas Bjorn punching some sort of shot into the 12th hole here. Good par 3, and he's found the front left bunker.
Well, Curtis, you said before talking about this fun experience, I think of Scott Hoke, who hasn't come over to the British Open when he's had the opportunities to. He said, you know, my hands get cold in weather like this. I don't enjoy playing. Why should I do it? He had to come this year because of a sponsorship agreement. He missed the cut. But you can understand where he's coming from and not enjoying this experience.
The more you play over here, the more you get to know the people, the golf courses, the weather, the changes, everything, the more you appreciate it. The biggest mistake I ever made in my career was not coming over here in 1985 and 87 when I was playing my best golf. I regret it now. That's why I'm over here every year now, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It really is a lot of fun.
You appreciate it more. Maybe that's showing in your play the last couple of years. You've had great success over the last couple of years here in this championship. So the drama goes on, and the heck that these players really have to deal with out there. Let's send you back over to number 10. And a moment ago, Tiger Woods for birdie.
Hit a great second shot out of the rough. Had a horrible lie.
This is much like yesterday, the search for a birdie. Tiger went 16 holes without one yesterday, dry today, and now Price for bogey.
Price trying to salvage a bogey here. Be a very, very great bogey if he can make it. It's like making a birdie at any other golf course.
Well, it will be a double for Nick.
He has not made anything, Mike. Just absolutely nothing.
Those putting problems that he had at the U.S. Open sent him to a new putter similar to the style he used when he was #1 on the money list and won the British Open and the PGA in '94. Said over the last couple of weeks, 18 hours of work solely on putting. Felt good about it, putted well in that opening round when he shot 66, but as the winds have come up, putts have not dropped.
And that does affect you. Rossi, I'm sorry, you know, when you don't make putts, it puts pressure on the rest of the game that you have to put it in the fairway, then you have to put it on the green.
That's right.
It puts so much pressure on it, it destroys the rest of your game.
I've always felt that he's a better putter on slower greens, which these are, but it has not been the case today.
Now, Tiger, and you see his day, the middle 3 holes, bogey, bogey, double, 6 other pars. For the second straight day out in 38, and remember he shot 30 on the front 9 in Thursday's opening round.
And already missed a couple of these. Remember how firm he hits them. That's good, but you have to be dead center.
Tiger drops another shot. He and Price walk off this green at 3 over and 3 behind our leaders. Jim Furyk, 3 holes ahead, is also tied for 5th at 3 over. And now back at 10 fairway, as you see, Matt Kuchar, uninterested spectator. He knows what it's like to be a young amateur and be in the fairways in the last couple of groups in a major. He experienced it earlier this year at the U.S. Open. But Justin Rose has the share of the lead after 45 holes of the British Open. Set to play his second here at 10.
It's kind of an awkward shot at the 10th. The wind is back in your face and maybe moving just from the left to the right. He is in some rough that is not the thickest rough, but it is long. 167 yards.
And sometimes, Judy, that gets you taking a little more club than you maybe should. And that high rough, that wispy rough, wraps around that shaft and throws it to the left.
And my guess is he would have to hit at least a 5-iron from there. He's hit it pretty straight, Curtis.
Good shot. Another good shot.
That polite applause that all players get from a fellow amateur and the warmth of his fellow countrymen. We're going to skip ahead to the finishing hole, 18, and Brad Faxon, who's only 4 back. He's been 3 over par for today's round. Brad, who his bread and butter is in his hands there, his putter, and he looked at his putter, didn't think it looked right earlier this week, found that it was bent in 3 different places, had it straightened out, and he's been putting a lot better this week.
It looks like butter in his hands. He's so smooth. That wasn't his best, but he is one of the best. Brad, not one of our better ball strikers, but when he gets driving it decent in the fairway, he's dangerous.
He shot 4 over. The leaders are 9 holes back. He's tied for 9th. 74 is a darn good score today. Back to 10. Second for our co-leader, Brian Watts.
Placed the ball well off the tee, 160 yards. Oh, he's hit it very low. Little cut.
A little bit farther and a little bit farther off the green as it takes the depression. Rose and Watts in that final group. They've held up to the pressure halfway through the third. Back live, Watts, his third at the par 4 10th. He tried the PGA Tour in '91, made just 11 cuts in 29 attempts, was 184th on the money list, but has gone on to have monetary and playing success in Japan. But that was a tough one. We're going to move ahead to 15.
And this is Parnevik at the par 5, the first par 5 on this Royal Birkdale golf course. Look at this lie. This is fourth shot. Parnevik 1 over on his round today. So he'll have that left for his par. This 15th hole, playing at 544 yards, has yielded just one birdie as we go back to 10.
And now Rose. Taking a look at this one, which would be for the lead. What is interesting, in comparison to Kuchar, the amateur, there are plenty of logos on this young man. And he has the same fate Watts does.
And there we're talking about, you know, maybe turning the 9 holes, starting on number 10, coming back to the house Saturday afternoon, the British Open. Maybe the nerves are getting a little bit toward those fingertips, and you never know. Even though he had 4 or 5 feet of fringe to negotiate, it was not much of a fringe. As we said around here many times, it's cut just like the fairway, which is very similar to the green speed.
Well, through the front 9, the last 4 groups, just that Thomas Bjorn birdie at the 5th, the short par 4, is the only birdie carded by these 4 groups. And that's Watson Rose, Woods and Price, Bjorn and Love, Couples and O'Mara. We're not talking slouches. We're talking people who've won majors as well. 11.
Second shot for Nick Price out of the rough. Really a bad lie. Got 190 yards into the hole. And that's going to come up just short of the green, but not bad out of that.
That was a great shot.
Yeah,
a great shot.
Out of that tough lie as we go back to 10.
Par save for Watts.
That's the first really good putt that he has made today, and I think that's going to help his confidence.
To the 11th.
And the second shot for Tiger Woods.
155 out of the light rough. Going to try and knock a little shot down.
Good angle. Flagstick is in the left portion of the green, just right of that far bunker.
Woods has parred this hole the 2 previous days. And that's just going to miss the green to the right about hole high. Woods rounds of 65 and 73, and currently he's 5 over on his round today as we move back to 10.
Rose to stay even with Watts. Rose will drop a stroke, at least here at 10. And Brian Watts will be alone at the top of the leaderboard the way the day started. He was 3 under and alone in the lead when the day started. Now he's even par. And ahead by 1. We told you about the interested amateur who's been watching. Matt Kuchar's with Judy Rankin.
Well, I have the great pleasure to be here in the 10th fairway with Matt Kuchar. Matt, you've had some wonderful experiences this year. Tell me about your British Open experience.
It was great fun for me. It's too bad not to be able to play this weekend. It was a learning experience, though. This was brand new to me, playing these links courses. It's much more difficult than I anticipated it being, but it's great fun. You have to be so creative over here, hit a lot of different shots. Really enjoyed it over here.
So do you feel like now the wily veteran compared to our 17-year-old who's playing so well this week?
Maybe getting a little bit of that. Yeah, it's Justin's come and talked a lot to me. We talked a lot yesterday. He's such a great kid, and this will do nothing but great things for him. The way people are seeing him right now, how he's smiling and waving, seems like such a nice kid. Well, he's the exact same way off the course. He's one of the nicest guys I've met.
Well, in your immediate future, you're going to Scotland just to play some golf and have a great time. But can you tell us anything about your future in golf?
Oh, I don't know. I'm playing the Palmer Cup the first week in August, and until then I'm going to hang out over here and play some of the different courses and take some time off, just have a good time. But everybody's asking me the question, when will I go pro? And I don't have an answer. I really don't know. School's been great fun, but turning pro is hard to turn down, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, we look forward to the future. Thanks for talking with us, Matt. Back to you, Roger.
All right, Judy, thank you very much. This is Nick Price at the 11th for birdie from off the green with the putter.
Again, putting from off the fringe. And I'll tell you, Roger, the more you putt from off the fringe, the tougher this game is going to be, because the air is a lot smoother than the ground, I'll tell you that.
Well said, Rossi. We go to Parnevik. We saw that difficult fourth shot, and look at this. Parnevik, who failed in his first 6 attempts in trying to qualify for the British Open, but of course, you know, with a couple of seconds, he is back in the thick of things. As back at the 11th hole, Nick Price is really struggling right now. That par putt just slides by, and he will make bogey. So Nick Price, after the double bogey at 10, will now go to 4 over for the championship and 6 over on his round today, after a bogey at 9, a double at 10, and a bogey at 11. And a few moments ago, this was Tiger Woods, his third shot.
Again with a putter off the fringe, and watch this one.
Well, we've seen both sides of it, Rossi. One too far, one way too short with the putter.
Not only too short, but way left. I mean,
yeah. Well, this is for par, and we saw him struggle yesterday with the putter.
Rossi, we've seen him hit some poor putts. Is it the wind? Is it just speed off? What is it?
I think his speed is completely off, Curtis, and I don't know. He just, you know, he really hung in there great yesterday, but today it seems like it's getting away from him pretty badly.
The wind will make it do it to you, or make you look bad.
And he misses the par putt, so Woods with a bogey at 10 and another at 11, now 4 over for the championship, 6 over on his round today. And the emotions were under control yesterday, but we've seen more of the emotions and the frustration for Tiger Woods in these difficult conditions at the 127th British Open at Royal Birkdale, where Brian Watts has a 1-shot lead. 4 for the amateur Justin Rose.
I think he had to hit all of a 3-iron back into that wind.
Oh, beautiful shot right there on the front of the green. So this young man, who's been invited to play in the Dutch Open next week, and there's speculation he might turn pro on Monday, continues his fine round of play as we go to 13.
Thomas Bjorn for a 3-putt here at 13. He put it on the front of the green, putted 7 feet by. Actually, the wind blew his ball maybe 6 or 7 feet past the flagstick, so it's not been the ball striking, but his efforts around the green that have caused problems as we go to 15.
And this is Jim Furyk at the par 5 for birdie. So Furyk, who once again has himself in contention at a major championship, is at 3 over on his round today, and 3 over for the championship, as at the par 4 11th, second shot for our leader, Brian Watts.
175 yards in that longish rough.
He's the only player in the field that shot in the 60s in the first 2 rounds, 68 and 69, and that comes up well short, Judy, of the green. So Watts will have some work for his par at this 11th hole, where there has not been a birdie so far today, as we go to 16.
Jesper Parnevik playing his second, trying to knock it down out to the right there, and he's caught that front right-hand bunker. That's very deep and quite nasty down in there. Tough hole, the 16th. Beautiful view there. of this typical links course. Brian Watts by himself, even par. 3 over for the day, though. Brad Faxon, a good 74. John Houston, a 73, was our first round leader at 5 over par.
Ian Constantino Rocco went from Todd 69th, last place, shot even par, to Todd for 12th. Pretty good little jump, huh?
He and Yoshi Tamori, young Japanese player, also did the same thing. And scores on the right there just indicate to you how difficult it is out here today. It is true British Open weather. And we'll move back down to the 12th with Nicky Price, 94 Open champion. Knocking down a 4-iron there, trying to bring it in right to left. And wait for it, that could...
12th hole, to me, one of the prettiest, simplest, most natural-looking par 3s in the world. Just sits very nicely back between these two sand dunes. You have the two frunkers guarding the right and front left of the green. Wind coming out of the right, 25, 30 miles an hour, and only 178 yards, but very, very difficult. What a gorgeous golf hole.
Now Tiger. Also with a 4-iron.
And this ball is going to miss the green 40 yards to the left, up into the gallery, right over the top of it.
Thanks, Rossi. That's way up there where the players walk over to the 13th tee. And we'll go back to 11.
And this is the birdie putt for young Justin Rose, who in April won the McAvoy Trophy at the Copt Heath Club and is now vying for the British Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. What a difference a couple of months make. Curtis, you said you felt that if he was going to have some problems coming in, it would be this part of the game, that maybe this is where the nerves would show through.
Yes, that's where it does affect you the first. The short game, the putting, and when you can look and see somebody's speed all of a sudden change, not have the correct speed from 10, 20, 30 feet. We just saw that at number 10. I know that's where it affects me, and it affects everybody. You could always keep it on line pretty well, but your speed and your nerves and your feel, although that's a very nice one.
That was very good, wasn't it? So a good par for Rose. A little tap in there, and a moment ago, this was Watt's third shot. This is the 6th British Open Championship for Brian Watts. His best ever finish was a tie for 40th back in '95. So this has been just some great playing as we move to 16.
Jesper Parnevik coming out of the front right-hand bunker at 16. Way down there below the surface of the green. Threw it up very high in the air. And that's a pretty good shot there, as you can see, going back into the breeze. Threw it high in the air and a lot of backspin. Back to 11.
And this par putt for Brian Watts to stay at even par for the championship and maintain a 1-shot lead over Parnevik and Rose.
And it doesn't look very tough, but it's downhill, downwind. It'll be very fast. And sometimes it's hard to start it on line.
Just slides by on the left. So the bogey at this par 4 11th for Watts. And now we have a 3-way tie for the lead. And the third round of this 127th British Open Championship. Parnevik and Rose and Watts all at 1 over as we go to the 13th.
Mark O'Meara hanging tough. This for birdie. Book it. Great break back on the 6th. And what could have been the controversy of the tournament has been righted and has Mark's game as we go to 16.
Jesper Parnevik for his par here. Down the hill. Breeze behind. And unlike the hole before, just missing on the left side. Parnevik will move to 2 over par. In a tie for third place with Thomas Bjorn. And Let's see how Tiger Woods and Nick Price are doing here at the 12th. Nick Price putting here for his par after coming out of the front bunker. Tiger Woods has already made bogey, I've been informed. Difficult lie up on top of the sand dunes, 30 or 40 feet above this green. Tiger playing his second and not being able to save his par. Nick Price now. Let's see if he can get something going. Won the Open Championship at Turnberry in '94. He knows these conditions. And he looks pretty disconsolate right now. Shoulders are sagging. They've just about had enough of it. Through 12 holes. Price at 7 over for the day, 5 over for the championship. A couple of feet left for a bogey 4. That is unbelievable. You can see it's just getting all too much for Nick Price now. He really has had enough of it. It's a tough, tough day out there. They'll walk up the hill to the 13th tee. Over the hill, through the crowds.
So Nick Price, 5 over in his last 3 holes, has dropped off the leaderboard. Parnevik had made 8 consecutive pars until that bogey we just saw. Furyk has made 9 pars in a row. That's how they're able to just tread water at this point. Everyone is over par. You have to go back to 1985 when Sandy Lyle was 2 over to find the last time that the British Open Championship was won with a score over par. It's tough to watch. The 127th British Open, presented by MasterCard.
During World War II, the Birkdale clubhouse was taken over for use by the local Home Guard, civilians who were mostly too old for the Army, who went out on patrol in the dead of night looking for invaders on the coast and stumbled into many a golf course bunker. Meanwhile, the club leased the dune to the left of the 3rd fairway to the RAF for £1 a year as a kind of lookout point for enemy aircraft. Down on the beach, an elaborate system of upright posts were erected to prevent the Nazis from landing aircraft on the broad, flat sands.
And we're back with Justin Rose at the 12th tee.
Ball didn't start nearly far enough to the...
And almost up in Tiger Woods country in the thick rough on the left-hand side of this green. Beautiful par 3 hole. And now Watts tied for the lead with Justin, also with a 4-iron, 1 over par. Beautiful smooth swing. Fighting the wind here, howling right to left. And not a bad position there, just off the edge of the green. The wind is really howling across the players right to left here as they walk off the 12th tee. We'll go up to 16 here, and Jim Furyk's second shot. See the amount of shaft coming through his hands there. He's really gripped down on that club and punched it back up into the wind. And a good safe shot. Now those tee shots we saw were off tape. And Justin Rose hitting a beautiful little soft sand wedge down there out of the hay on the left side of this green. And he's got about 4 or 5 feet for his par.
Ian, he seems to have all the shots that you tend to learn once you get on tour and have the experience and have different types of shots.
Curtis, I can't believe how syrupy his swing looks today. It's just long and loose and nothing's different about it. I mean, that's amazing. His cheeks are a little red. He's a little jumpy. He's a little tense and nervous out there, you can tell, but enjoying it every minute of the way. Having a great time. Brian Watts is good too. I'm really happy for the young fella from the United States, although it's pretty hard to tell what nationality he is as we go back to 13.
Well, problems yet again. This long par 4, usually play an iron off the tee. Woods in trouble.
Yeah, he laid it up again, but he can't get it in the fairway. He has 210 yards to the hole. A decent lie in the rough, though, but this ball's going to come out flying.
Again, only have to fly at 165 or 70 yards, probably 20, 25 yards short of the green is where he wants this to land. He flew it almost to the front edge, and you can see what happens after that.
It is a guessing game if you don't put it in the fairway, and he's losing the game right now. Woods 7 over on his round, 5 over in all. To 15.
Second shot for Bjorn at the par 5. Whoops. Mark?
That's a good layup.
Is it? It's in the fairway, right?
We had 323, and he laid up short of those bunkers. That was not what he had planned, though.
But not a terrible mistake, but you can't be real happy with. Look at the smile on his face. Let's go back to 12.
We're here at the 12th, and Justin Rose putting for his par. Brian Watts already missed his putt from the back of the green.
Ian, tough putt, Ian, because the slope of the green is this way, and also the wind is coming through these sand dunes left to right. Whatever he reads, he's got to give it another inch or two on the left.
Yes, the wind comes through that gap in the opening at the back of this green, Curtis, doesn't it? Well done. Beautiful putt. Saved his par. He'll remain 1 over par for the championship. What a great up and down that was. To 17.
Parnevic's made his way to the par 5 17th. He can reach it if he can catch a flyer here. Oh, he bounded over the corner of the bunker. It's going to run through the back of the green, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem from back there. Terrific play for Parnevic, who led last year after 54 holes. Now he finds himself just 1 shot out of the lead.
Now Brian Watts putting for his par. Second putt back up the hill. Has to be careful, as Curtis said, that it doesn't blow off and miss on the left side, the right side as we look at it. And that's exactly what's happened. The wind howling across this green. And that's a bogey 4.
So, as Watts moves to +2, a young man who wasn't born when the U.S. hockey team beat the Soviets in the Lake Placid Olympics. He was born July 1980. Justin Rose has a 1-shot lead here in the British Open in his home country, England.
Jesper Parnevik seems to be a fixture now at the British Open. Here he is, his 3rd shot moments ago from behind the par 5 17th. It's a beautiful pitch to here, and he holds it, and now Jesper Parnevik is tied at the top with amateur Justin Rose. Now, back at 13, Woods for par yet again. Maybe? Well. It has not been the case thus far today for Tiger. Like yesterday, he simply hasn't been able to make any putts. Beginning today, out at the 3rd hole. This for birdie after a well-played shot and misses on the left. 4 for par. Simple putt. The result, catches the edge. Up ahead at 5. This for par. Bogey after bogey after bogey, and then at 6, this putt for bogey. The result, a double bogey, 6 at the 6. Now at 10 for par. Yet again, catches the corner. Another bogey at 11 for par. So the shutout continues with the final putt at 12, the short one. Thank you very much. So it has been that kind of day for young Tiger Woods, but Jesper Parnevik with a birdie at 17 moves in the tie with Justin Rose at 1 over par. A little unlucky. Got on line, didn't get the good bounce. Up at 15.
This is Mark O'Mara. This putt for birdie. Mark, who finished in a tie for third here in 91. Matter of fact, played with Ian Baker Finch in the final pairing, has got himself that left for par as we go back to 13.
If you're tuning in late, folks, and you're wondering what has happened, well, when we got to Birkdale early in the week, when asked to describe the golf course, most people said it is fair, and it is fair. What is not fair today is the wind, and the wind has sent scores soaring. I don't know that I've ever seen the third round of a major championship with so many plus scores. In fact, the lowest round today, Constantino Rocca and Tamori out early with a round of 70.
And Steve, what you're talking about, and all of us, the players, talking about fair, is that there's very few blind shots, there's very few cross bunkers, as we know links course to have. All the trouble is on the side. Another good putt. All the bunkers are on the side. Obviously, the rough is on the side. The fairways are relatively flat. The greens are. What you see is what you get.
Well, it is a wonderful test of golf in normal conditions. It is an incredibly difficult test of golf in the conditions that these players face today. 218.
Well, our leader alone, Parnevik, his second. Missed the fairway to the right. That one squirted on him. So, Parnevik, a lot of work to do at the last. Back to 13.
Wonderful payoff for Watts. Great second. Nicely done. This has been a different stage of sorts for Brian Watts. It's one thing to play well in Japan. He's done it here to 18.
Parnevik now live, his third.
We'll take it up abruptly and chop down on top of it and try to keep the rough from catching the club face. And that's all he could have done. He's on the other side of the bunker, and even if he tried to go over, that's as close as he could have got to the hole, some 40 or 45 feet.
Well, tonight on ABC, after an all-new time comp, Ben Stiller, Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke star in Reality Bites. Not highlights of this third round at the British Open. Comedy for the 90s on the Saturday Night Movie tonight on ABC. 17.
Jim Furyk. That for Eagle, so Furyk has that to move to 2 over, and guess what? Jim Furyk's a shot out of the lead. What a terrific round of golf by Furyk. If ever there was a player out here that was so content to play within himself, nothing seems to bother him. The worse the weather, the more focused he seems to become, and now Jim Furyk, with that birdie, finds himself one shot out of the lead. Look at what Jim Furyk has done in the last 6 majors, beginning with the 97 Masters. He has been a fixture, was 4th at the British Open last year at Troon, 6th in the PGA, 4th in the Masters this year, and now finds himself one shot out of the lead. Back at 14. So kudos to Mr. Furyk. There's a lesson out there for you youngsters. It doesn't have to look pretty to be effective. Don't worry about your swing. Don't worry about what your swing looks like. Just post numbers. I see so many young kids today make pretty swings and forget about hitting golf shots.
Well, he also has a very good attitude, and something else, Steve, is that he can make a lot of putts.
And let's try 14 now.
Our leaders have arrived at the tee because on the green, Tiger missed his par putt. So he will drop another stroke, and the day of frustration for Woods continues. He's 8 over. If he pars his way in, he'll be around a 78 and equal his worst round as a pro. Remember, there are a couple of par 5s ahead. And now a live look at Watts, who is tied with Parnevik. Jesper has the very, very long par putt on 18. Watts 5 times to the qualifying school to try to get his PGA Tour card. Got it once, and we told you that he struggled in 91, 184th on the money list. That's why over to Japan, where he's won 11 times, including once this year, 9 events, 8 top 10s on the Japanese circuit.
Looks pretty innocent down there, Mike. Only 195 yards downhill. You think it'd be a 4 or 5 iron, but with the wind coming across from right to left, these players have to start that ball, well, not quite that far, have to start the ball right edge of the green. Anything left of that will hit the center of the green, and with the wind blowing it from right to left, will push the ball, and then it'll run off the back left of the green. Okay, and then on the opposite of that, you'd like to hit a hard cut shot back up into the wind. When you do that, it just knocks it right out of the air. So you have to ride the wind here.
13, prior hole, downwind. Now this hole, it's coming as you are playing from right to left. Unlike Royal Troon last year where you're playing downwind, 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 the routing is different on each hole here. Does that play on your mind a little bit?
Makes it a better test of golf, as we were just talking about. When the routing is like there are in the States, when they go every which way, you play different wind conditions on every shot, and makes it, I think it's more of a challenge. It tests your abilities more. 4 iron, you can see where he started that out to the right.
Wind didn't move it nearly as much as he would have expected, Curtis.
And again, it looks like a straightforward hole, 195 yards, but again, the wind is coming out of the right. Pretty strong, 25 miles an hour, and today the flagstick is in the middle part of the green on the left. The 2 or 3 bunkers on the left, believe it or not, are coming into play. If you miss it at all to the left, it catches the edge of the green and shoots it straight to the left.
And that big sand hill to the player's right, kind of protected back there, and can't get the true sense of how hard that wind is blowing once you get past that sand hill.
His tendency has been to start the ball too straight in these right to left winds, and that ball is way left.
Lost 4 iron, bounces off the spectator. Some claps of encouragement for the young man who have to try to get up and down as he was able to do, I should say, when he missed the green to the left on the last par 3, the 12th.
Judy, he didn't hit a very good shot there, but it does help on these par 3s to be able to hit second. You can see what the wind does to your opponent's ball and what they hit.
Well, that's true, but all day long when he's had this right to left wind, he has not been able to start the ball down the right side.
To the finishing hole, here is Parnevik, that long attempt at a miracle par. We're coming back for a bogey to finish at +2. Parnevik, who last year was in the last group on Sunday but shot 73, as Justin Leonard came from 5 back to win the British Open. David Duval finished with a 75. He had just 1 par in his first 10 holes. 6 over, made the cut on the number. So that gives you an idea of how high the scores are in addition to the today numbers. Back to 16.
And the 98 Masters champion, Mark O'Meara.
I'll be right.
Iggy's caddy there, yelling for it to be right, and it certainly was.
This is the welcome at 14 for Rose.
But I don't think he's going to be smiling when he sees the lie in this rough.
I hate to laugh, but not many people, hit a shot that is in a terrible spot left, bouncing off people, smiling. Thank you, thank you.
He's having a ball.
You know, fellas, he might have gotten lucky here. That smile might be because this lie isn't nearly as bad as it could have been.
While he assesses, let's go to 18, Parnevik for his bogey. Well, Parnevik, twice second, said, I relish the chance to get back in position to win this thing one more time. He's done it, 68, 72, 72, in position for a final round Sunday at the British Open. Now you come back to 14. Rose has had a look.
And the good part about missing the green to the left side is you play this little shot back into the breeze.
But he only has about 5 or 6 steps of green to work with, doesn't he, Judy?
Well, yeah, that's just about right.
Good shot, pretty good lie. He was able to take a big swing, shoot it straight up in the air, and as Judy said, back into the wind, you saw the ball only go about a foot once it hit the ground.
Ahead one, 15.
Second shot at 15 for Tiger Woods.
And this 285 yards to the hole, had a big drive.
And this is the driver, Rossi, sorry.
Now, that's found that bunker to the right of the green there. There's only been one birdie at this par 5 today. Tiger made bogey here yesterday as we go back to 16.
And O'Meara for his birdie, coming across the green, wind blowing from his right to left, but not quite enough. Mark O'Meara currently in 5th position, and he'll remain at 3 over par. From Isleworth in Florida, and we'll drop back to 14.
Ian, you talked about Watts earlier. Born in Canada, his father English, mother German, U.S. citizen, playing in Japan. Tied at the top of the leaderboard. His putt for birdie. Up to 18, the second shot for Jim Furyk.
Straight downwind, just has to start it on line, and then it won't turn very much.
Asking for it to come down. Well, Furyk is just one back, tied with Parnevik at 2 over. His bogey has Watts alone in the lead at 1 over. But Furyk will have a chance at a birdie putt and could tie Watts at +1. Our coverage tomorrow here on ABC Sports begins at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You will see the leaders all the way around. 18 holes. Who knows, the way things are so bunched up, if we could have a playoff. Remember, the British Open playoff system is 4 holes total score before it goes to sudden death. Rose to save his par at 14. A little bit coming back, too. Ahead to 15.
Well, third shot now for Nick Price at the par 5.
Deepest rough on the golf course. Gonna have to take a full swing at it to hit it about 70 yards.
Nick is 8 over on his last 6 holes.
Go. Keep going.
That was a well-played shot there.
Yeah. As we go back to 14.
This is for bogey. Pressure starting to build for this kid a little bit, Curtis?
Absolutely. Saturday afternoon, the farther you get along in the round, the later in the day, you realize what you're doing. It starts to mount now, and it will be there tomorrow. But a good putt. Seems very calm, cool, and collected.
Bogey.
And having fun.
Apologize. He's bogeyed 3 of the last 5, but still remains a couple behind the leader, Watts, 50 to the 15.
And the third shot for Tiger Woods. That is very acceptable right there. What a terrific shot by Tiger Woods. He'll have that tap in for birdie as we go to 14.
To stay alone in the lead, Watts. Brian Watts, age 32, stays alone at 1 over with 4 to play. 2 par 5s, 2 par 4s. When we come back, we will visit with the man who is finished and in second place, Jesper Parnevik, plus Furyk with a birdie putt at 18 to tie for the lead when we come back.
And the conditions, was it any fun out there at all?
Oh, I mean, I enjoy this. I think this is a lot of fun. Even though it's a struggle, I mean, it's a lot of fun. You have to hit shots you never ever hit anywhere else in the world. So you have to use imagination and hit a lot of strange ones.
How difficult was it out there compared to other difficult days?
Oh, I mean, it was similar to yesterday. I mean, it was blowing. They had to call it off because of wind yesterday. So But it was similar to the practice rounds where it really blew hard.
Of anybody with at least 20 rounds in this tournament, you have the best scoring average. Why do you think you play so well here?
Oh, I love the tournament, first of all. I mean, I love to play under these conditions, and, you know, I can hit the ball in some strange ways. I mean, I can keep it very low when I have to, and can put some severe spin on it when I have to, so maybe that's one of the factors.
Earlier this week, you said you either sink into oblivion or bounce back, and you would give anything to be there with another chance on Sunday. Apparently, you'll have it. Are you at all daunted by the task of being there again?
Oh, I mean, this is more than I could ask for. I mean, I was just hoping I would get another chance, and here I am again.
Yes, you are. And a round of 72 on this day. We have some highlights from the day. We'll start off with the fourth hole, where you had a nice birdie putt here. It's the par 3.
Oh, yeah, I hit a great 5-iron in there, about 8 feet, and I got off to a great start with holding that one. I mean that 7-iron is going close to 300 yards.
And you leave yourself an interesting little chip downhill here.
Yeah, I have a downhill lie, and I'm coming out of the rough, and I'm trying this new shot I've been trying this week. I have a putter grip when I'm chipping to get the ball land softly, and it did just that, landed softly and rolled down to the pin, and then I hold the putt coming back. I think it was inside left.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a chance to see that right here.
Yeah, I mean, I missed a similar putt yesterday for birdie, and so I was very pleased to hold this one today.
A round of 72 after a bogey on the 18th hole, which I'm sure disappointed you, but you didn't have to travel far from home, but the rumor around here is that you brought your own chef with you this week. Is that true?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Swedish Federation have their own chef and their own coaches this week, and they have 2 houses where everybody's staying. I'm not staying with them because I have my own family, but they take good care of us this week.
All right, well, thanks very much for stopping by a round of 72. Mike Tirico, back to you.
I don't know if the Swedish chef is including any of the volcanic dust that Jesper has used from time to time to cleanse the system, but it has worked well for him thus far. Steve Melnick, you were there and talked to him after the disappointment in the British Open that Nick Price was able to wrestle away from Parnevik. What are your memories of that year in Parnevik at the Open Championship?
It was incredible, Mike. He told me when he walked off the 72nd hole that he thought he needed to make birdie at the last hole to win, when in fact he didn't look at the leaderboard. All he needed was par. He could have made a safe play to the 18th, and it might have been a different outcome. I've never seen a more disconsolate or dejected individual as I saw in Jesper Parnevik in 1994.
That was then. Last year he finished second, the disappointing Sunday, but another good Saturday has him in contention. As you look at how this field has done, we haven't seen a round in the 60s. We've seen far, far too many rounds in the 80s to this point. At last count, 20 of them. 81 players started today. 50.
Justin Rose.
After a big, good drive, this is a 3-wood.
His second shot at the par 5, where Tiger Woods just made birdie a moment ago, just the second birdie of the day. And so Justin Rose, the young man who's captured the fancy of everyone in England after the World Cup in the month of June, when a young man by the name of Michael Owen jumped up and became the pride and joy of all Englishmen. And before the shot by Rose, this was Brian Watts.
Well, from the rough, not really a good chance at all to get over all the cross bunkers. So safely short of the bunkers.
And very close to that bunker, but safe indeed for Watts from Oklahoma State University. Still makes his home in Edmond, Oklahoma. He commutes back and forth, believe it or not, from Japan. He tries to get home for about 7 different times during the year as we move to 17.
Don't forget about O'Meara. He's 2 back. His second at 17. Reaching it is not a problem. Stopping it is. Ooh, oh my, get down in there. That's probably better than on that downslope. So, like some pinball machine here as we go to 16.
Tiger Woods, second shot from the deep rough. 150 yards, not far away from the Arnold Palmer plaque. Terrible stance right here.
Looks to be right of the plaque there.
Oh, where's the hook? You gotta be shitting me.
Well,
you could not hook it off that stand.
technical turn there. Little concerned about the wind, not taking it right to left. That was way right off the tee, Rossi.
Yeah, it was quite a bit right. If it gotten up on top, it would have been all right, but he had no chance with the stance.
16th fairway.
Tiger walks up to the 16th green here. Nick Price there in the foreground. We'll go up to 18.
Thomas Bjorn's second. Bjorn is 4 over, had the lead at one point earlier today. Back 1 to 17.
O'Meara got a great break by coming back in the bunker. This is third. Well played. Good shot. The Masters champion sending a message to these youngsters here. There's still a lot of life left in the plus of 40 group. O'Meara with that putt for birdie. 15.
And the third shot for Watts at the par 5.
156, and if you've got to play one into the wind, this is not a bad shot to have.
This man's won 11 times in Japan since 1993.
Probably tried to keep a 6-iron down.
And not bad. He will be putting for birdie here at this first par 5 at this Royal Birkdale course as we go to 17.
Mark to pull within 1. Yes, indeed. We talked earlier about how well he played here in 91. Ended up tying for third with Fred Couples as we go back to 15.
And this is the third shot for the amateur Justin Rose.
Walked from his ball all the way to the front edge of the green. It's 62 yards to the hole. Knocked it right down.
Oh, very close to the spot where Tiger Woods ended up for his birdie. So the 17-year-old from England with a birdie putt at 15 to pull within 1 of our leader, Brian Watts. And with this huge following today, his father Ken, his mother Annie, his sister Margaret, and all of the fans of this youngster, what a day in the life of a 17-year-old. And he has brought to the forefront a lot of courage, a lot of calm, and an immense amount of talent. Jim, thank you very much. Well said indeed. Take a look down at 15, a much different look at this 15th hole. In 1998, then in 91, they cleared out a bunch of silver poplar or Lancashire weed, which surrounded this green. A few other minor adjustments as Justin Rose now looks over this very short putt for birdie after bogeys at 13 and 14. This would get him back to 2 over and just 1 off the lead. Well, Curtis Strange, you've been in moments like this before, and you never know how you're going to react till you reach that particular moment. He seems to be handling things awfully well.
You know, I'm flabbergasted. I can't imagine. I'm shaking in my boots just watching him, and he seems much calmer. It's actually easier to play probably than watch, but his putting strokes look very smooth. He's hitting every shot right in the middle of the fairway. He's actually playing better than anybody else out there right now.
Well, and before Justin Rose, this was the birdie putt for our leader, Brian Watts. Opened with a 68, had a 69 yesterday. 4 over on his round today and nearly dropped that in, but he would settle for his par to remain at 1 over for the championship as we go to 16.
Tiger Woods with a terrible lie in the bunker here.
Hasn't that?
That was off tape there at 16, and Tiger went on to two-putt that for another bogey. A good look here now of the 16th tee as the players walk from 15 green up to this lonely little tee ground. Brian Watts, the leader by himself. Mark O'Meara now up there in second place. Tiger Woods with that bogey at 16 has dropped back to 6 over par. And look at that, Tamori and Roca with 70s earlier today went from just making the cut to 6 over par and in 9th position.
Let's take a look at this tee way back here in this area. You drive across this is all blind. They actually cut back 10 more yards in the start of the fairway so we could all get there off the tee shot. We weren't reaching the fairway earlier in the week. And then you want to avoid this bunker over here. The rough over here is like hay. They're actually going to cut it after that we finish and sell it. Green up here.
You buying?
They have a nice crop this year, I'll tell you. Ian, it's a difficult tee shot simply because it's blind.
Exactly right, and there's sometimes when the wind is really blowing straight into you that you wonder whether you can even reach the fairway, Curtis.
That went through my mind a couple of times this week.
Because as you said there, the very start of this fairway is just bordered with that long hay. You see in front of Brian Watts here with his tee shot. You do not want to miss this fairway right.
Or left.
That looks like it's going down the left corner of the fairway. And you can see there, only 10 yards into the fairway. A long iron for their second shot, uphill a little into the breeze. We'll move ahead to 18.
Remember that disaster at the 6th hole with Mark O'Meara? Couldn't figure out what his score was. He hasn't made a bogey since, and he's 2 under since that point. Second at the last.
That from 191 yards.
Slow down a little bit.
Hey, Mark.
Mark will have a run at that to try to tie Brian Watts for the lead. Right now he's tied for second with Parnevik and Rose and Jim Furyk, and we'll talk to the man who always hangs at the last. Well, finishing that up would be a round of 72 for Mark. It's a pretty good round today. Man who has played well and played with confidence since that Masters Championship.
Visibly more confident after the Masters, and when he's more confident, it elevates his game to another level. I think he finally realized after the Masters, hey, I can do this every day with the big boys. I can play. I can win major championships.
Well, 41-year-old Mark O'Meara had an interesting day at the 6th hole. Shoots 72, doesn't make a bogey since that 6th, and it's just 1 off the lead. So here's how the leaderboard stands with Watts with 3 to go. Tie or alone. Tied for second in that group is Jim Furyk with Jimmy Roberts.
Well, thanks so much, Mike Tirico. And once again, Jim Furyk hanging around near the top of the leaderboard in a major. You've really had some terrific results in majors. But what will it take, do you think, to get over the hump and win one of these things for you?
Well, I'm not sure. I guess, if I ever could do it, then I'd be able to sit here and tell you. But tomorrow I need to go out there, be real patient, not force it, let things happen. And really out here, you just got to keep the ball in front of you. Keep the ball in play. Make sure you're not short-siding yourself, putting the ball on the wrong side of the pin, and just grind it out. It's going to be a tough day tomorrow here again, and the scores will probably be high, so I just need to go out and fire a pretty good number.
Is there anything that you've learned in your previous major experiences that might help you tomorrow, something you'll do differently, something you'll do the same?
I think just taking from the past, being in contention, winning tournaments in the past, just take those past experiences, and really, again, I think the word is patience, to go out, not put too much pressure on myself, not try to do anything that I'm not capable of. Just play within myself, play a good solid round, and let them fall as they may.
We said a little bit earlier in commercial, we were talking, and you said that this is really one of the most difficult days, conditions-wise, that you've ever played in. On a day like today, which is more difficult, the physical part of it or the mental part of it?
Well, a little of both, too. I think it's good to get off to a good, solid start, which I did for about the first 3 or 4 holes today, and then I made bogey on 5 and double on 6, and I put myself 3 over par. And at that time, I think I was, 4 or 5 shots out of the lead. So then it became a mental battle for me to stay positive, to stay patient, to know if I played real well, played solid coming in, even par, 1 under par for the rest of the way, that I'd be close to tied for the lead. So I was tough, but I stayed positive, and I played well coming in.
All right. Thanks very much for stopping by, Jim. Let's go out to Ian Baker Finch.
Thank you, Jimmy. Brian Watts with his second to 16 here.
193 yards up the hill, 2 or 3 iron. He's hung this out to the right.
Down into Tiger Woods' bunker. Let's hope it didn't get the same sort of lie that Tiger had. See there, Brian Watts, very smooth swinger.
Money.
So, to 17.
Tiger, second shot.
215 yards from out of the rough, probably an 8-iron.
Boy, this looks good. It was here yesterday that his patience paid off. Birdied 17 and 18 en route to a 73. Could have been a lot worse for Tiger Woods yesterday, or the same today as we go back to 16.
And Justin Rose here, as Judy said before, uphill. Try and keep it down into the breeze going uphill. This was off tape. Just rolling back down. It's still putting though, not too bad. The whole location is 16 yards on today at 16, so he's got about an 18-yard putt. Now Judy's down there with Brian Watts, just about to play his bunker shot.
He's got a fair chance from the bunker. The lie is okay and enough for him to get it up.
Luckily, Fluff Cowan raked the bunker properly. And just another beautiful approach shot from the bunker for Brian Watts. He's used to playing difficult courses. He plays a lot in Japan. He's won 11 times there.
I think our American viewers don't really see Japanese golf courses on television and may not realize just how difficult most of them are.
There's a lot of white stakes on the Japanese courses, I know that. Very, very tight. You must hit the ball straight to play well there.
Brian told me a couple of holes ago that playing with Justin Rose is like playing with Jumbo in Japan.
All those cameramen around and everyone screaming for the other player. Now Justin Rose, he's chosen a wedge or a sand wedge here. He's going to lob it on.
That second shot just ballooned up into the wind.
Good touch on the chip. Couldn't believe it rolled off to the right. With the characteristic smile and the look of, wow, did you see that, mate? To his caddy. I can't believe that one. But he's having fun. Left himself 4 or 5 feet there, Judy, for his tap pin for his par.
I don't think he would count that as a great little chip from just the front of the green there.
I was surprised he didn't putt it, to be honest with you, going into the breeze and uphill. We'll go forward to 17 and leave them there.
Tiger with a chance to pick up some ground. This for eagle.
Difficult to judge the speed up a slope and then down just a little bit to the hole.
Well, with that birdie, Woods moves to 5 over, and in spite of all the things that have happened today, he's just 4 out of the lead. And his explosiveness is such that 4 shots around here, if he can get his putter working, can be picked up very quickly.
But Steve, the wind has to lay down a little bit if you're going to be explosive and make birdies out here.
To 16.
Now the tournament leader, Brian Watts, has this for par. No head movement whatsoever. Very steady. And that's why he's had such a good score today in these difficult conditions. He's in control of himself. Leader by 1 at 1 over par. There you see it. Parnevik, Furyk, playing so well last year in the Open at Troon. Just one shot behind the leader. O'Meara played so well here in 91, played with me in the last round. Won the Lawrence Batley International, now called the English Open, at this course in 1987. Mark O'Meara looks like having a very good chance again at winning here at this course that he loves so much. But they're all going to have to beat this young fella, 17-year-old Justin Rose, for par. Like shelling peas. Great stuff. They'll walk over to 17T.
That's also with a 3-wood. It's been fun to watch Watts sort of stick to his game plan. He didn't get excited, played within himself. Made a lot of very nice swings today on a day when it's hard to keep your wits about you. Perfect here at 17. 218.
Tiger's second.
170 yards.
Well, Tiger will get to use Mark O'Meara's backup putter, which he put in the bag for this week after he and Mark played around in Orlando. Mark shot 63, Tiger shot 62. Decided to use Mark's putter here at the British Open. Back to 17.
All right, Judy, what's the situation?
Well, I made it down off the hill. And Justin's just been up to the top and back down. His ball is right at the bottom of the swale. He can get a club on the ball. The smart thing to do would be to take a sand wedge, hit the ball just a little bit toward the right side of the hill, and maybe move the ball 60, 70, 80 yards down the fairway. The hill very, very steep in front of him. Well, that's just what he's done.
Thank you. Excellent play. No time to do anything foolish. He's a shot out of the lead. If he can just get to the house with 2 pars, he's in terrific shape for tomorrow.
Steve, it's a smart play by a 17-year-old. He's playing so beyond his years right now.
218.
That's the welcome for Tiger Woods and Nick Price here at the last. What a tough day it has been for both. Tiger, 7 over on the round, 38 on the front 9 for the second consecutive day. They're on the back, 5 bogeys, but 2 birdies on the par 5s. Before they putt, back to 17.
Watts, second shot.
The ball just perched up on a knob. It couldn't sit better. 239 yards, but plays very short. I don't know, 5-iron probably. Maybe even one less.
Balked.
Come on now.
Sounded a little heavy, but if he did, he played it beautifully. So Watts has that left for eagle. He leads by 1. The lead could increase.
He has an eagle putt. Tiger has a birdie putt. We want to let our stations know back in the States we are going to stay on past our allotted time of 2 o'clock Eastern. So
at 17.
188 to the hole. The hole 29 paces deep in the green.
As though oblivious to what is going on around him. It has been fun to watch.
Coming back.
And the walk up to 17, a smile that lights up a nation. This has been a graveyard of sorts for European golfers. Since 1951, only 3 Brits have won the Open Championship. Who would have thought that an unlikely amateur, age 17, could break through? And now Watts for his eagle. Beautifully judged. The lead with a short tap-in will be 2. And the unheralded Brian Watts finds himself in a wonderful position here. As he needs par at the last to be even after 54 holes. 218.
Tiger for birdie. Now to get within 4 of the lead. And to watch the look on the face of Justin Rose, and look at the look on the face of Tiger Woods, complete opposites. '77. An exhausted and exasperated 22-year-old to a 17-year-old who says, let this day go on.
Well, Mike, from a tortured look at 18 to a delightful look here at 17, he'd like this round to continue. This for second all by himself. It's not to be, but it's a good par. After the tee shot, put himself in a lot of trouble, played smartly back into the fairway. A successful qualifier here on Sunday and Monday, and now tied for second, heading to the home hole. Now let's go there now, Mike.
Nick Price for par on what has been a disastrous day. A bogey will be 82 for Nick Price. He's not alone, though. 23 of the 81 players were over 80 today. 30% of the field. While 82 looks bad, consider the scoring average is 77.5.
He's not alone, but he feels like he's alone right now. I tell you, it's the worst feeling in the world, coming off the 3rd round and just not playing very well and playing yourself right out of the golf tournament.
Last group on the golf course. Watts leads by 2.
He just heard his caddy say you have plenty of room to the left. Has a fairway wood. We'll shoot this thing way to the left and just let the wind bring it back to the fairway. Not too difficult because the fairway actually does go from left to right a little bit, slight dogleg to the right. The one place you want to avoid is going to the right. Deep rough and a pot bunker on the corner.
And those last couple of bounces take it from sight. So our leader misses the fairway. And now the story of this day at the British Open.
Shot.
One misses left, one misses right. Rose missed the fairway early.
What was the worst of it out there today for you?
For me, it's just judging the pace of the greens and just trying to stay steady. One moment I'm leaning into the wind, trying to brace myself, and the wind might let up a little bit and I'd lose my balance, or I wouldn't play the wind on certain putts and would play it, and it just didn't work out for me today.
Did you lose your patience at any point? It looked like you got a little anxious towards the middle of the round.
I got frustrated, yeah, but you just got to hang in there and keep giving yourself chances. I was frustrated more than anything at my putter. I couldn't get the speed right because I'm leaning in the wind, as I said, and it just didn't work.
You going to complain to O'Meara about it?
No, well, obviously he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's shot 2 over today. He's fine.
Because of the conditions and the wind was so violent, did you go into the round with any type of a swing thought to help you through it?
Just trying to maintain my plane, make sure it stayed flat and around my body, and make sure the club came out low so I could drive the ball through the wind a little bit better. And if I ever stood up on the shot, then hit the balloon ball, wouldn't exactly be the best thing out here.
We know that Justin Leonard came back from 5 shots back last year to win this championship. Do you go into tomorrow thinking that you have a chance to win this?
No doubt about it. I'm right there in the ball game. I just need to go out there and post something solid. I don't know what the conditions are going to be tomorrow. If they're like this, it'll be helpful for the guys who are behind if the conditions are hard, because you go out there and shoot something solid, even par, 1 or 2 under, you could pass up some people and win the championship.
Justin Rose, the young amateur, is having a wonderful day. Any thoughts on how something like that is possible given these conditions?
One, he's just real relaxed, and he's just playing golf. He's just playing shot for shot and just going along about his business, not letting anything get to him, and that's the way it should be.
All right, Tiger Woods, thanks for stopping by. Mike Tirico, back to you.
Jimmy, thanks. Tiger's total today, 7. Let's see who will be first, Watts or Rose.
Well, based on the yardage I have, Justin Rose should be first. I get Justin to be 212 yards back, and he has a pretty precarious lie. He's on a bit of a downslope, a lot of grass up around the ball, and a little kind of stemmy, viney thing up around the ball. He has been so strong, though, out of some pretty deep lies today, that I wouldn't say he cannot play this shot. You saw the velocity of the practice swing, though.
Well, by the practice swing, you can tell that he's going at the hole. Just so much depends on if you can make solid contact or not, and if that club face does close right at the ball, it will go left in a hurry. Well, he missed the one place he didn't ever want that ball was in that bunker some 60 or 70 yards short of the green, but he got around it, and he can get it up and down. It was just about an impossible shot anyway. Just a little pitch and a run, and at worst he'll make 5, and that's the important thing.
Rose has hit only 8 greens today. Watts looking to hit his 11th.
Fluffy lie in the rough, 199 yards. This ball should be hot on the ground.
Just onto the putting surface. He is the leader, but there's so much attention on Rose. And the warm applause for not only the home favorite, but also for the man who is the certainly surprising leader of this Open Championship. Now Rose, who Watts asked if it was okay if he walked up to mark his ball before the applause, is going to take another peek up at the green before hitting his 3rd.
Justin has about 50 yards of the front of the green. The flag is another 19 steps back. It's flat between his ball and all the way to the flag, so no humps and mounds to negotiate. If he can judge the first bounce, he should get it, 15 feet or so. Judy?
Well, I agree. I think this is a shot he might very well get close. The wind is as light as it has been all day. Nice lie in the fairway, lots of green to work with.
Probably just take a sand wedge, possibly a pitching wedge. Just make sure you knock it down just a little bit to get it chasing forward. Pretty good. I'll tell you, that was pretty good. In the middle of 4,000 or 5,000 people, the last twosome of the day. Looks like he has a lot of golf shots. You know, Mike, when I was 17 years old, I was worried about trying to win the state junior or the club junior championship, not the British Open.
Be less than candid if we didn't add that when you saw Watson Rose in the last group and Price and Woods in the second to last group, you'd think that the story would come from the men who've won majors before, not the players in the last group of a major for the first time. They have beyond held their own on this day. Brian Watts.
Now, Brian Watts was looking at Justin Rose's shot as it hit the green and hit the surface, the speed, the break more than anything else. Not too much break one way or the other here, just trying to judge the speed. As Judy just said, the wind is dying down. And also, when this green is situated between these tremendous grandstands at 18, it does block a lot of the wind. So wind really not a factor here. Just get your thoughts. Finish with a good two-putt.
Some kind of steady on the way in. After bogeys at 11 and 12, he was 2 over, birdied 13, made 3 straight pars, birdie at 17, and some cleanup work for a par and a round of 73. A guy who thought about giving up the game, but after working with his teacher in New Orleans in '92, turned his game around. Missed the qualifying school in '92, headed for Asia, has now found how to win, and that is paying dividends and standing up to the test of the world's best here at Royal Birkdale. Now Rose, who had the very nice par save at 17, will try to do the same here at 18.
Motion to his caddy. He thinks it's going to go a little bit from left to right. Not much in this putt, though. If anything, just on the left edge. Well, it's the first bad putt we've seen him hit in quite a few holes, but still a wonderful round of golf in some really trying conditions. He played way beyond his years. He played like an experienced veteran. But let's see how he sleeps tonight and how he comes out tomorrow.
If he sleeps tonight.
If he sleeps.
The exhaustion from the mental strain of these days. Remember, he had to qualify on Sunday and Monday as well. That'll help him sleep. 4 par. Brian Watts will come to Royal Birkdale on Championship Sunday morning with a 2-shot lead, paired with Jesper Parnevik, last off the first. They'll be paired tomorrow, Watts with Parnevik, Furyk with O'Mara, Rose with John Houston, who's 73 today, was quiet yet very solid, Brad Faxon with Thomas Bjorn, and Tiger Woods with Yoshi Tamori. Tamori and Konstantino Rocca just made the cut on the number, started the day tied for 69th, and finished the day tied for 10th. Here is how everyone stands after 54 holes. Remember, after day one, we had 27 players under par. Coming into the second round, we had 5 players under par, and now there are none in red figures. There's Rocca and Tamori. Their 70s holding up. Love and Couple, 77 and 78, both started at even par today, find themselves 7 and 8 back with a forecast of some wind and who knows how much. I mean, we've seen that these forecasts mean less than the paper they're printed on. How far back? 5 over still realistically have a shot?
5 or 6 over par, yes. If you could go out at 6 over par tomorrow, if the conditions were the same today, and shoot 68, you'd be right there at the end of the day. You certainly would.
And you wouldn't wish it on anybody, but you'd never know. With all the scores from far more accomplished players who've done great things on Sundays and majors, who knows what Watts would shoot in conditions similar to this tomorrow?
Well, he's been around. He's, like you said, he's been in Japan for a number of years now. He's an 11-time winner over there. He is very experienced. He's a veteran, but has he ever done this in a major championship? No. I think I have to go with the 2 veterans right behind him, O'Mara and Parnevik, and if I had to choose between those 2, I've got to go with Parnevik. He's been here before. He hasn't won a major, but he's been here before. He's very comfortable on links golf courses. You heard him say he has a lot of fun out there today, had a lot of fun, and he's going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. I like that attitude.
He's in the last group for the 2nd straight year on Sunday. We watched